Our invocation will be a moment of silence and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Jeff Norwood, of our Veteran Service Officer. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Oh. I'm sorry.
For y'all to ask, sorry. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, staff. How are you doing? My name's Jeff Norwood. I am local to Martin County here. After high school, I tried a couple things before joining the Army, and I served from 09 to 13. I served as an infantryman, and for those of you that don't know what an infantryman is, look at the movie Saving Private Ryan. That's what all infantrymen are right there. I was boots on ground in Afghanistan in 2010, and I realized that I didn't want to do that twice. So when I came home from the Army, I started interning at a veteran service office for St. Lucie County. So eventually, 7 years later, here I am. I'm replacing Dan McHenry. For those of you who don't know, he retired last week, so I'll be filling his boots for the time being. This is my way of giving back to our country. I really appreciate this opportunity that you guys have given me, and I like to tell folks that this is not a job for me, it's a lifestyle. So I plan on sticking around for a long time, and I appreciate you guys giving me a chance, and I'll look forward to working with all y'all.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. See, presets, we have a 505 public comment. I mean, a 905 public comment. We have a preset of 930, request for concurrence of the appointment of the administrator of the Florida Department of Health in Martin County, which is Department number 3. Then we have 505 public comment. Additional items, consent 18, a local planning agency school district appointment. Consent 19, interlocal agreement between Martin County and the Village of Indiantown to provide temporary building, a temporary building official inspections and plan review. We have one consent poll, which is consent 15, adopting a resolution approving the acceptance of Southwest Earl Avenue into the county road inventory for ownership and maintenance. And that was pulled by Commissioner Hurd. We also have a request to withdraw an item, which is Department Quasi-Judicial number 3, right-of-way width variance request for Southeast Mango Terrace. Northeast Mango Terrace. Thank you. And with that, before we approve the agenda, we have a, let's describe it as a boatload of public speaking forms, and we have an agenda that is absolutely packed with CIP. I would like to request that we actually push CIP off till our next meeting, which is the 14th. Rather than trying to rush through the day and pack in stuff that will take us to midnight to get to, I would like to push that off if my...
Oh, you have the chair. You can.
Well, I'm asking for... I don't...
Want a motion?
This isn't a dictatorship. so
Move,
I would
move
like
that we move the CIP to May 14.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Hurd, seconded by Commissioner Campy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now we can do the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Good morning. I would move approval of the agenda with the additional items of consent item number 18, 19, with the request to poll item, consent item 15, and also the request to withdraw item, quasi judicial hearing, item number 3.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor? All right. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, moving on to, we do proclamations before the public, right? Okay. Proclamation, more, oh my gosh. Proclamation number 1, services and statistics regarding our Veterans Service Office. Ms. Michelle Miller.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michelle Miller, Human Services Director. Excuse me. I'm here this morning just to give you a brief report on Veteran Services and what they have accomplished over the past few years. So the mission of Veteran Services is to assist former members of the U.S. Armed Forces and their dependents in obtaining federal and state benefits that are available to them as a result of their active military service. This is put in statute, which governs it. Florida Statute 292.11 gives the authority to the Board of County Commissioners to employ our Veteran Services officers and prescribe them their duties, their compensation, and their terms of employment. So here are some statistics I just wanted to show you over the past 3 years. Primarily, like I said, their main job is to help veterans file claims. And as you can see, the numbers are not, they have increased, but then in 2022, we had a very big spike. That was because of the PAC Act that was enacted in 2022 that allowed a lot of veterans that were denied benefits to come back and reapply. So we had a lot more claims filed in 2022. In addition, we have employed a very strategic outreach program to allow veterans in the community to know that our office has these services available and to get people to come in to file their claims. You can see the claims awarded has significantly increased over the years, with 2023 being our highest claims awarded. And again, we don't award the claims, the Veterans Administration does that, but our VSOs do their best to make sure that when the claims are filed, they have everything in them to receive an award. The monies recovered is a significant number because that is monies that go directly into our county through our veterans that live here. So in 2023, you'll see that we had over $7 million. So again, a significant amount of money that's brought back into the community. And then our client contacts continues to increase. You'll see in 2023, there was over 21,000. And again, that is really a result of the outreach that the VSOs do in the community. And here are just some examples of the outreach. We work a lot with the Veterans Council to bring you the Memorial Day ceremony, the Veterans Day ceremony. We work a lot with ALFs going out into the community, letting them know of our services. And then we work a lot with a lot of nonprofits, House a Vet. We work with Homeless Council of the Treasure Coast to see that homeless vets in our community get housing, and then providing emergency financial assistance for those that are experiencing a hardship. So those are just some of the highlights. We wanted to let you know some of the great things that they're doing. Here's our team. You met Jeff this morning. Brindell is our other VSO, and Jane's our administrative assistant. Small but mighty team, and they do some great things in the county, and we just wanted to let you know about them. So thank you.
Great. Hold on just a minute. Commissioner Smith?
Michelle, can you go back to that first sheet, the one where you had the statistics? So the claims filed are those are individual, so there's 805 individuals who filed.
Correct.
And the 21,000 is multiple claims per individual?
So those could be client contacts for a lot of different reasons. Maybe someone's looking into a veteran funeral, or they want to know how they can get a homestead exemption. Many different types of inquiries come through the office, so those aren't only claims.
And do you have any idea out of the 805 how many veterans live in Martin County?
There's about 12,000 veterans right now in Martin County.
Do we communicate to them through some kind of direct mail, through some kind of, do
Well-
all 12,000 somehow, when you said you're really doing a lot more outreach?
Right.
Is there just so everybody kind of understands how to do it if there isn't?
Right. So a lot of it is word of mouth, really trying to get out into the community and letting them know. And we do have a presence on our webpage, and we do a lot of service through the nonprofit. So letting them know these are the services that we provide, and asking them to refer their friends and their family and things like that.
Just a thought, maybe doing direct mail, like doing a mail piece at sometime.
Yeah.
Memorial Day or sometime when people are thinking about it.
Yeah, we can definitely look into that.
If we do that once or twice a year, at least we'd be touching every one of them if they're not communicating. Like, my mom is a perfect, for instance, she's not a veteran, but I mean, it's perfect. She doesn't have email, she doesn't have internet, she doesn't have anything. She doesn't communicate that way.
Right.
So
The mailbox.
we wouldn't be reaching that
Right.
part of the population. And that's why I wondered about the 805.
Yeah.
If there's 12,000, how many more are there that we could be touching?
Okay, that's a great idea. We'll definitely do that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, our next proclamation number 2. The first proclamation is stamp out, where's Laura? Uh-oh,
Yes, she is.
there she is. All right.
That was fast.
Okay, she's going to handle reading them, and I'll stand over there and hand them out.
Good morning, Commissioner. Sorry about that. Today, we have a proclamation declaring Stamp Out Hunger Day in Martin County. Every year on the second Saturday in May, letter carriers across the country collect non-perishable food as part of the nation's largest one-day food drive, distributing the donations to local food banks. And it is important to note that all food collected in our community stays in our community, providing a critical supply for House of Hope and partnering local agencies who strive to empower residents to overcome hunger and hardship. In recognition of Stamp Out Hunger Day on May 11th, the board recognizes all letter carriers and local pantry services for their hard work and commitment to their communities. And here to accept, we have Rob Ranieri, who is the CEO of House of Hope.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners, for the recognition. We certainly appreciate it. Like Laura said, this is the largest food drive nationwide that exists. For House of Hope, it's especially significant. Summertime, we see a spike in the need for food with kids out of school missing free and reduced lunch, and with still so many seasonal jobs. So we'll see folks in June, July, and August that we don't see again all year. It's substantial. Last year, we raised over 70,000 pounds of food. The letter carriers do an absolutely incredible job. They're very passionate about supporting this effort. Many of them have a friend or a relative follow them as they're delivering the mail, so they can pick up all the food that's out there, and they'll put it in their truck, they'll put it in their friend's truck. So it really is a great effort, obviously driven by the generosity of our community. Last year, well over 10,000 households participated. So it's significant. House of Hope food is still the key resource for us, even with all the other services we provide. We distributed over 1.3 million pounds of food last year. We're on track for about the same number this year. So this drive certainly has an impact on the community and our ability to serve both through our 4 food pantries and supporting the 30 different food partners that we have across the community as well. So we thank you for the recognition. We'll encourage everybody, you'll be getting your bags in the mail. Please fill them up and put them out. Makes a big difference for so many of your friends and neighbors across the community. And once again, thanks for the recognition.
Our next proclamation is declaring Hurricane Preparedness Week. The 2024 hurricane season begins on June 1st, and as a coastal county, Martin County is extremely vulnerable to storm surge, tornadoes, flooding, and high winds. Whether hurricane forecasters have predicted an average, above average, or below average season, it just takes one storm to have a bad year. In recognition of Hurricane Preparedness Week, May 5th through 11th, the board urges the cooperation of municipalities, businesses, homeowner and condo associations, hotel associations, and media to inform residents and visitors of appropriate awareness, preparedness, and safety measures related to hurricane season. And here to accept, we have Sally Waite, our Emergency Management Director.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to discuss Hurricane Preparedness Week, as we want to encourage everyone to evaluate their personal hurricane risk before hurricane season. This year, hurricane season, which begins June 1st, if you might have forgotten that. This year especially, we are going to be busy with 24 named storms and 11 hurricanes predicted. But again, just want you to always remember that it only takes that one storm. So after experiencing firsthand the devastation that occurred in the 2022 hurricane season on the West Coast, I feel compelled to stress the importance of hurricane preparedness. So now is the time to prepare, of course. Please make a plan to, and be sure it includes where you'll go if you're evacuated, how to communicate with your family. Remember that a shelter should be your last resort, not just a place to make your first plan. Please remember that a shelter just remember if you're traveling to get to a safer location, please don't go hundreds of miles, just tens of miles. And please don't forget about your pets as well, because they are very important. Remember to build your kit by stocking up on emergency supplies and know your risk. You should know if you live in an evacuation zone or not. And you can always find that information out on our website at martin.fl.us/EM. Remember to stay informed, always listen to your local media, our press conferences that we always have in the Emergency Operations Center. And also we have a new Connect Martin app this year that we're really excited about. You can find information about open shelters if there's an active event occurring. And you can also take pictures and report damages of your house so that we can see that right away at the Emergency Operations Center. And we know where to send our resources and where to send our damage assessment teams. So please remember that regardless of the hurricane predictions, that it still only takes one storm. Be prepared so you could be a hurricane survivor and not a hurricane victim. Thank you.
Next, we have a proclamation declaring Child Abuse Prevention Month in Martin County. In fiscal year 2022, 3.1 million reports were made to Child Protective Services. Child abuse can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims. Helping People Succeed is celebrating 60 years of service to the community and is committed to providing protective factors and conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. The board urges all citizens to recognize April as Child Abuse Prevention Month by dedicating themselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. And I don't know if I saw Susie Hutchinson, yes. You're not Susie, but you're here for it. Thank you very much, Joanna.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for having us here. Thank you for your ongoing support throughout the year. Our Healthy Families Program is an abuse and prevention program. We are currently serving 500 families in Martin and Okeechobee counties. We have a 100% success rate of these families never entering into the child welfare system. At Helping People Succeed, we focus on prevention. You will see pinwheels planted outside our offices, symbolizing pinwheels of prevention. Because of its very nature, the pinwheel connotes playfulness, joy, and childhood. It has come to serve as a physical reminder of the great childhoods as we want for all children. And as a symbol, the cyclical nature of the pinwheel calls to mind the positive cycles of love and support we want to help the families create. Thank you. And our final proclamation today is declaring Everglades Dark Sky Month in Martin County.
The beauty and wonder of a natural night sky is a shared heritage of all humankind that inspires feelings of wonder and awe and encourages interest in sciences, technology, engineering, arts, and math, or STEAM, in our youth. Many residents in our region live under a dome of light pollution and are not able to fully enjoy the cultural, recreational, ecological, and health benefits of a naturally lit nocturnal environment and night sky in their own communities. In recognition of Everglades Dark Sky Month, the board encourages residents, businesses, and visitors to discover, celebrate, and protect the night starry skies and the natural nocturnal environment within the greater Everglades for the good of people, wildlife, ecosystems, and climate. And here to accept, we have Dave Brown, who is president of the Treasure Coast Astronomical Society.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Thanks for having me here. Thanks for the proclamation, and I appreciate the award, and I'm here to accept it on behalf of the Everglades Dark Sky Society. I would like to introduce one of our club members, Patrick Mugen, who is our advocate, our Treasure Coast Astronomical Society advocate on the International Dark Sky. I promise I'll keep it short. And also, by the way, we do work with some local agencies here in Martin County Board of Ecotourism. If you know Emily Dark, we do some star parties and moon gazes with Emily, and we have one coming up at Indian Riverside Park in about 3 weeks. So if you want to come out and get some nice views of the moon, come on out. But I'd like to introduce Patrick.
Her last name, she had no choice.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'd like to thank you on behalf of Dark Sky International for recognizing this, for the effects of artificial light at night, by following the 5 principles of responsible lighting, of usefulness, control, targeting, color, intensity. We can reduce the amount of our carbon footprint, save money, protect the environment, and protect human health, and provide the necessary security and safety required. I'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you.
Short guys. How you feeling? How far away are they standing from each other?
So an interesting little story about dark sky out in Sedona in Arizona.
Beautiful place.
They are a dark sky town, and I think it's the only McDonald's that has a green M as their logo.
That is correct, and I'm a member of the a Lowell Observatory out in Flagstaff, and they are the first city in the United States, I think Sedona was second, to be designated as an international dark sky city. The cool thing about Flagstaff is if you drive by Flagstaff on I-40, you don't even know there's a town there,
Yeah.
because the lighting is so responsible that you wouldn't know it's there.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
It is
just,
amazing.
if you've ever seen it, it's really weird when you drive by a McDonald's sign and it's green.
That's true.
Anyway, thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Okay, thank you. Now it's time for public comment. For those that haven't experienced that before, you have 3 minutes. At 2 minutes and 45 seconds, you'll hear a tone that means nothing other than to wrap your comments up. As I mispronounce your name, when you get to the podium, please pronounce it correctly. And if I call your name and you actually would like to talk at the agenda item itself, please let me know, and I will set your card aside. Okay, we're going to start out with, okay, that's right. Don has got a,
I was ready.
all right, thanks.
So just for the audience and those who wish to speak, since we are in election season, politicking is prohibited, which is defined as advocating the election or defeat of a candidate for public office, either partisan or nonpartisan. This includes the use of words, dates, signs, props, and/or wearing apparel that convey a message of support for a person or a group of persons. Thank you.
Okay, and we have quite a bit. I think everybody in the room, maybe even the building, has filled out a request to speak form. So We're going to begin with Mr. Casey Cass, followed by Jim Moyer.
Good morning. Casey Cass, Save Our Salerno. During a recent meeting, one of the county staff informed the Board of Commissioners about his discussions with the marine businesses located in our Commerce Industrial Park. He emphasized the importance of making improvements to Commerce Avenue to enhance the marine transportation route. However, this information turned out to be untrue when the president of the marine industry spoke at the MPO meeting. The president clarified that the marine businesses neither required nor desired the proposed improvements to commerce, as outlined in the Innovation Hub Plan. The revelation exposed the earlier statements as falsehoods, or in simpler terms, lies. This deceptive behavior seems to be a reoccurring trend among certain county staff who prioritize their own agenda while dismissing the concerns and preferences of the local community and businesses. This must come to an end. While it is acknowledged that the commerce may benefit from resurfacing, extravagant additions like 10-foot sidewalks and parallel parking is unnecessary. Although some drainage improvements may be warranted, the last drainage improvements actually did their job. It hasn't backed up since then, when it used to do it quite often. If I can get my next page. So onward. The language used in the CIP appears deliberately vague, particularly in the case of Port Salerno. This ambiguity grants public works excessive flexibility, allowing them to proceed with projects without adequate public input. Commissioning business flair to create a study or plan, then directing them to align with the staff or a commissioner's preferences without considering the needs/wants of the citizens and businesses is just unacceptable. The proposed improvements to Salerno Creek, labeled as multimodal pathways by Business Flair within the Port Salerno CRA, should be not only presented to the NAC, they should be afforded an opportunity to comment on it and elevate it to the CRA board. That doesn't happen. And coincidentally, on that Salerno Creek, Save Our Salerno within the next couple days will own 5 of those lots along Salerno Creeks, totaling over an acre, which will bring our total investment as a community of $750,000 in the last year. If that's not representative of our commitment to preserving Salerno, I don't know what is. It demonstrates our commitment to preserving Salerno, the CRA, as well as ensuring our community has a voice in the decision-making process. This financial and legal dedication underscores our determination to safeguard our community. Thank you.
Mr. Moyer will be followed by Gil Smart.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Today you may decide to double down on what, in my opinion, is an unfortunate and inappropriate change to the Comprehensive Growth Management Plan. Many years ago, granting clustered residential development on Kousa Creek agricultural ranchette property was a mistake. It was a bad idea then. It's a bad idea now. This proposed PUD agreement and the contorted modifications to the Discovery Plus Rural Land Use Amendment that have been proposed to let ranch come into existence set some really bad precedents. And it damages the utility and reasons behind the urban service boundary. This low-density suburban sprawl, and that's what it is unacceptable. It will leverage us in a very unfortunate way into not being able to provide services outside of our urban service boundary ever. This applicant's representatives make many hyperbolic claims and present very little verifiable data to support their claims. I have more doubts and concerns this time with this rural land use amendment than I have in the past. I am really disappointed about the expedited review process, in this one in particular. It's a rush to approval, and these projects deserve to have very comprehensive investigations into their claims. As preemption takes our ability to establish and maintain acceptable levels of service, and concurrency standards diminish, our MPO sets timelines for improvement into the distant future, we will certainly face gridlock on Canner Highway. Senate Bill 7913 requires the extension of gray infrastructure for water and wastewater services into these new outlier enclaves. They may pay for it, but it does not assure that we will maintain the ability to provide high levels of advanced treatment to our wastewater. Who pays for the extra load? They claim that there will be no negative effects on wetlands or conservation land designated by the SERP, but they have no proof of that. They claim that they will improve water quality of the water extracted from the C-44 and circulating it through their property, and only when it exceeds a 25-year stormwater event will that water be tested for improvement. They have no rationale for improving the BMAP thresholds. They do not currently have an environmental review permit from South Florida Water Management District. They have no authority permits for their marina amenities. I am grateful that
Sir, your time is up.
support Banner Lake in providing kind services to South Florida High.
Your time is up, Mr. Moyer. Thank you. All right, Mr. Smart is followed by Ronald Rose. Ronald, no doubt.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thanks for the opportunity to speak this morning. My name is Gil Smart. I'm here as Policy Director for Friends of the Everglades, founded in 1969 by Marjorie Stoneman Douglas and based right down the road here in Sewell's Point. We've provided written comments to you regarding the Kousa Creek or ranch development, but wish to follow up here as we believe there are serious questions regarding the Comprehensive Plan text amendment and future land use map amendment, which would pave the way for this massive project, and that you folks would best serve this community by voting no. As you've heard and will continue to hear, there's a lot of concerns about this proposal, but most alarming to an organization dedicated to the restoration and preservation of the Everglades is the possibility this project will impact the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan. As you are aware, a January letter from the South Florida Water Management District articulated serious concerns, noting that the ranch is located within the designated Palmar Natural Storage and Water Quality Area, which is part of the Indian River Lagoon South Project, IRLS, and that, quote, the proposed project associated with the proposed comprehensive plan amendment appears to be inconsistent with the goal of this federally authorized project, and that, quote, regional water supply, wetland, and floodplain management will be impacted by the proposed map amendment. Given the billions in federal and state dollars allocated or already spent on Everglades restoration, it would be a mistake to approve these proposals without ironclad assurances that it will not impact restoration. It will not be inconsistent with the IRL South project, and that it will not impact regional water supply, wetland, and floodplain management. There are other concerns about water quality, some of which were just articulated by Mr. Moyer. We are concerned that there have been, to our knowledge, no detailed studies or reports about the impact of water use and regional water quality beyond those submitted by the developer's consultants. The developer and his representatives are claiming they will enhance water quality, but there will be no regular testing to verify this, which amounts to the county taking the developer's word for it. Given the epic water quality challenges faced by Martin County, this is a very bad idea indeed. We concur, in fact, with the guardians of Martin County who've recommended the county require projects like the ranch to perform continuous water quality monitoring as a condition of PUD approval where the project is located in an area where discharges into impaired water bodies may occur. Other questions. Wasn't a Western Lands study supposed to be done in conjunction with this proposal? Whatever happened to that? Do we know definitively what the impact of this proposal will be on the Florida Wildlife Corridor? And lastly, we too are concerned about the leapfrog nature of this development and the inevitable proposals that will follow. The ranch is a mile from the urban service district. Perhaps the next proposal will be 1.5 miles from that boundary. At what point does the boundary cease to be relevant at all? We ask you please vote no on this proposal. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Rose will be followed by Barb Urich.
Good morning. Good morning. Ron Rose, Jen's Beach Chamber of Commerce. How are you all today? First, I want to commend you all for an excellent job in maintaining a positive economic environment here in Martin County. Projects that complement the Martin County different, like the branch project before you today, offers wonderful opportunities and economic benefits for our community. For example, redesigning and rebuilding South Fork High School's short golf course, on-the-job training that offers educational and mentoring opportunities for turf grass management, creating career opportunities in beef production and management, culinary arts, and hospitality and tourism, offering the first youth caddy program in Martin County, donating approximately 20 acres of land for the specific use of the University of Florida's Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences Extension Headquarters. The ranch has also dedicated $50,000 to perform an initial environmental restoration on Banner Lake owned by the Pine School. Please move this outstanding project forward. Thank you.
Barb Urich, followed by Megan Shirley. Shirey.
Good morning. I'm back. My name is Barbara Urick. I'm here today to speak about the Voyage Recovery, who submitted an application for reasonable accommodation. Let's again talk about the law. The law, Martin County Code 3.75D states that recovery homes must be 10 miles apart. The Voyage home violates this code. The property is located within 6.2 miles of the sister company of the same company, which is the property known as the Ocean House Voyage Recovery, which is located at 18083 Southeast Federal Highway in Tequesta, Martin County, which is 8.4 miles away. One more property is Heal Behavioral Health, which is located at 17953 Rocky Pines Road in Jupiter Farms, Palm Beach County, 3.6 miles away. The Serenity Home Detox and Recovery is located at 250 Thelma Avenue in Jupiter, which is 4 miles away. The Sandy Pines Hospital, located at 11301 Southeast Tequesta Terrace in Tequesta, Martin County, is within the 10 miles. I don't understand. Last meeting, Ed Campy asked Ms. Elder to find out how many recovery homes were within the 10-mile radius of this particular property. Has that been done? Well, I just gave you several, so maybe you can add to the list, but how can this even be an issue? If you follow the law, you're only allowed to have 10, they have to be more than 10 miles apart, so that makes no sense. I have a lot more to read, but I've already said it all, but there's 3 reasons this application should be denied, which I spoke about the last time. The first is based on the application does not provide any proof whatsoever that 12 applicants are better than 4. And based on the fact that there is, in fact, a direct threat to the safety and health of other individuals in the neighborhood. And then lastly, that this property is less than 10 miles away from several other sober homes. So this application should be denied. Thank you.
Thank you. Megan Shirey, followed by, Shirey, maybe one of these days I'll get it right. Followed by Mr. Joe Flanagan. Got that right.
Good, right. There you go. Good morning. As Commissioner said, I am Megan Shirey. I'm with the Boys and Girls Club. At the Boys and Girls Club of Martin County, we are dedicated to empowering our club members to seek meaningful roles within our community and to take pride in their diligent efforts. The vitality of our economy hinges on the opportunity that we provide for our youth. It is not just about finding jobs. It is about creating pathways to prosperity for the next generation. We envision a future where every young person has access to diverse avenues for skill development and career advancement. From internships to on-the-job training and meaningful interactions with successful professionals, the possibilities are endless. By working in our community, young people can contribute to its viability and sustainability. The Boys and Girls Club of Martin County eagerly anticipates learning more about the opportunities available at the ranch, as we are committed to empowering our club members to achieve financial independence and self-reliance. We seek environments that provide guidance, support, and valuable insights into career pathways and believe that the ranch's on-the-job training will provide that. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Flanagan is followed by Jennifer Pelham.
Good morning and terrific Tuesday. Joe Flanagan from Stewart. Couple of things. First of all, I mentioned this during the LPA meeting, but thank you to whoever the staff that puts the pictures up in the back. I usually don't sit that far in the back. Those are great pictures, and everybody should take an opportunity to kind of look at them before they leave here. Today, my son works at the Indiantown Airport, and that's germane to this conversation because this morning he rides a motorcycle, and it was going to rain, so I took him to work. So I had an opportunity to drive that long expanse between Stewart and Indiantown. And I'm looking at everything that's out there and so much of the land and so many things of the wetlands and everything that's concerned here. You guys have in front of you the packet for the ranch proposal, so I won't bore you with all the numbers and everything that's there. But if you start looking at it, exceeds our expectations. Whatever we have for the open spaces, it's far above that. It will have a working ranch, because I noticed the applicant had said, tried really hard to find a ranch or a farmer in order to sell the property to, and it did not occur. So we're moving in that direction. I remember when I was on the LPA and the Pulte group was proposing out there by South Fork High School, the audience was full of people from the Florida Club. And at that time, I reminded them, 12 years ago, you guys were putting your application in, and we were in opposition to you. But that turned out to be a very nice situation. So kudos to that one. And people show up sometimes with pitchforks and torches to these things, and then it becomes an emotional issue. The people that are multi-generational, that have lived here, I moved here when Cove Road was dirt, but there were a lot of people here before I got here. It's paradise. Everybody, every time you read a magazine, we're in the top 10 places in the United States to live. People want to live here, but we cannot put up the wall. So this is I recommend that you do the staff recommendation and approve this. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Jennifer Pelham, followed by Mr. David Hafner. Please pronounce your name correctly.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Pelham. I'm the Extension Director at the University of Florida IFAS Extension here in Martin County. And I just wanted to come forward today to let you know that we are looking forward to the opportunity of relocating to the ranch, thanks to the generous donation of 20 acres. As you know, we are currently located just north of the fairgrounds, and we are very limited with our space. We have outgrown our building. We don't have much space for doing on-site educational programs and research projects. So relocation to the ranch will allow us to expand our educational programs. We can expand and enhance our demonstration gardens, Florida-friendly landscaping, tropical fruit groves, citrus groves. We could also allow us to have an area for our 4-H youth, so they can have an area to show their animals, for their livestock shows, for their archery program. And this will also give us space to collaborate with our UF researchers. We have a lot of researchers out there that are looking for opportunities to have research projects going on throughout the state. This would give us a great opportunity to collaborate with our researchers at the University of Florida on a number of different projects, including agriculture and ranching and ecology. So overall, the relocation of extension services to the ranch would not only benefit the extension service, but also expand our educational programs throughout Martin County. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Hafner will be followed by Mary Straczynski. Going to have to fix that one when you get here.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is David Hafner. I am the University of Florida IFAS Extension 4-H agent here in Martin County. I'm just going to keep this short because I know you have a lot of comments today. I'm working hard to expand our program in our community. I'm trying to include as many youth as I can, just like the Boys and Girls Club mentioned earlier. And I am really seeing a lot of positive changes in my first year as an agent, really expanding this program already. And I'm just excited for the future. But my main limiting factor is space. Just as Jennifer said before, we have a very small footprint currently, and so we have to do a lot of work outside of the office, working, partnering with other people, relying on them for space, and it can be cumbersome when you're trying to expand a program and you need something reliable. Part of the ranch, as you've heard, is a 20-acre gift to Extension to have a new building, which would be huge. It would expand our programs incredibly. Having this amount of space, it would be an incredible asset to our office, and it would be an asset to the community. It would allow me to continue growing my program, to reach more and more Martin County youth, to partner with other people like Boys and Girls Club. So I'm really excited about the ranch, and I'm hopeful for your support today. Thank you.
Miss Mary, please say your name correctly.
It's easy, Starzinski.
Stars?
Just have to break it
Wasn't
down.
too far away, yeah.
Good morning. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, staff. My name is Dr. Mary Starzinski, and I'm speaking today in the interest of the public health and the common good. I am neither an engineer, a planner, nor a commissioner. However, the basic tenets of maintaining the urban services boundary are analogous to the basic tenets of maintaining good health. So what helps to create good health? First, eat lightly and watch your weight. Get on the scale and try to maintain it within normal boundaries. Martin County-wise, maintain the urban services boundary. Second, exercise regularly to maintain your own ecosystem. Martin County-wise, maintain the urban services boundary to support Martin County's vital natural areas, whose flora clean our air and whose natural wetlands filter and cleanse our water. These areas support essential ecosystem services, which help to maintain the public health. Third, don't drink too much alcohol. Don't intentionally destroy yourself. Martin County-wise, don't destroy our ecosystem via the intentional destruction of the urban services boundary. This will occur if the 3,460-acre Kousa Creek Ranch project or the Ranch PUD is approved. This will allow extension of public utilities and cluster, that wasn't 3 minutes.
No, you got 15 more seconds.
Oh, and cluster ranch development, oh, shoot, I'm sorry. Anyhow, okay, request that all commissioners' hands and votes are on deck to vote no on any amendments of the threat to Martin County's water quality. Water, especially clean water, is the new gold.
Ma'am,
Please
your time is up.
And next up is Mr. Circus. You have PH 3. Would you rather wait? Okay, good. And Joseph Pisano, you have PH 1. Would you like to wait for the item or speak now? You're going to wait? Okay, the same goes for Bill and Ingrid. We'll wait too, okay? Carol Ann Leonard doesn't have anything there, so how about you? Followed by Robin Cartwright.
Good morning. Many different people in Martin County have come to speak at the LPA and Martin County Commission meetings. They came to both Blake Library meetings to speak about the 7-year revision of the Martin County Comprehensive Growth Plan. I read the interviews and some public comments. Hopefully those who send emails to the commissioners are in agreement with the majority of the people. I believe they are. The majority of people in Martin County do not want overdevelopment. They're very concerned about keeping all our waters safe and free of pollution. The majority of both county and city of Stuart commissioners don't listen to the people. The majority of the LPA and MC commissioners want to allow continuing overdevelopment of mega overpriced mansions with multiple golf courses, golf cottages, employee dorms, and now a boat slip on the C-44 canal built by the ranch. These developments are being allowed by changing them to the rural lifestyle. It's also the way sewer and water is being allowed to go outside the urban service districts that were meant to slow down overdevelopment. First RLS was to apply to over 130,000 acres of agricultural and open land, then down to 1,000 contiguous acres. Now the attempt is to make it 3,000 contiguous acres, 6,000 feet away from a USB. These attempts need to stop until the infill area is full. Please don't pass agenda items 240188, 240189. More developments are being allowed west of Canner Highway and I-95 as well as along Bridge Road. Both are major highly trafficked roads. This needs to stop. The ranch brags about getting the water and sewer to stop septic tanks. If they weren't allowed outside the USB, then there would not be that septic tank problem.
How can we be sure that the ranch, with their water storage proposals, et cetera, can safely handle stormwater runoff from fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, possible gas, oil, and sewage from the boats on the C44 canal? Don't pass this as it is now. I agree with the proposal to mandate on-site water quality monitoring before passing agenda item 24-0783. The ranch wants to build a new home for UF and IFAS. Great. They will give $750,000 in-kind services to the local high school turf grass program, offer a golf scholarship. It would be better to give a scholarship to someone to study regenerative agriculture, environmental cattle ranching, and the Audubon grazing program. We don't need more golf courses. We need clean water, affordable housing, the county to continue being what it has been in the past, smart development, not overdevelopment, to name a few. I emailed the commissioners with several reasons why I believe the 3 agenda items should not be passed. I hope you read them. I hope you would consider my request. We, the people, want to be listened to. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Cartwright will be followed by Todd Orloff.
Good morning, Commissioners. Happy Tuesday. When it comes to reviewing development applications, theoretically, it should not matter who is on staff or who sits on the dais, but sadly it does. An application should be within the confines of a comp plan with minimal variances, and a land use change should only be sought if there is no other reasonable use for that land. Not because it makes a profit for a speculative land purchase or what is promised by buying goodwill. It doesn't change what's required by the comp plan. The original Kousa Creek proposal came before the Commission on August 10, 2010. Staff recommended a denial, and it was motioned by Commissioner Hurd, and nobody seconded it. Instead, there was a motion to, quote, come to some kind of agreement for a certain number of units, including yeses by Commissioners Campy and Smith. This was the same time frame as Cannabis Sound and Becker. Yep, the same Becker that was the applicant for the Rural Lifestyle Text Amendment. Applicants have been waiting for this configuration of a commission, some since 2007, like the company who paid $70 million for land, immediately had it revalued for $7 million, applied for a grazing zoning, presumably to avoid paying higher property taxes, who are now rushing for approvals because they know this may be their only chance to get anything and everything they want. It took years, but this group of developers, written about by Sally Schwartz in 2010, finally got the commission they want and that they need. Fun fact, the PR company who manages Kousa Creek's PR since 2010 also manages the PR for South Florida Water Management District and Big Sugar. Totally normal stuff. And sadly, this commission and its committees are not valuing true experts who are expressing valid concerns, like District 2's LPA rep who was forced to resign as a city commissioner over accusations of bullying, who said that the South Florida Water Management District email was rogue. What an interesting word. Rogue as compared to what? Instead of holding the applicant accountable, there was a redirection attacking an email's supposed validity to discredit its information. A tried and true way to do business. So South Florida Water Management District isn't an expert into sending rogue emails. None of the environmental groups are experts, but the guy appointed to sit on the dais who says it's a rogue email somehow is, and every developer paid consultant somehow is. Got it. You should be doing what you were elected to do and getting generously paid to do, which is to follow the comp plan and not what an applicant or their friends ask you to do, nor by those contributing to a PAC, including a PAC that is registered to the local Chamber of Commerce and one that is registered to a local current commissioner. So to everyone in this room and watching remotely, make sure your voter registration is updated and current. Know who has been investing in literally our candidates. Elections matter. I hope everyone makes their voice heard in August. Thank you.
Todd Orloff, or maybe not, is Orloff. Okay.
Close, very
Followed by Sam Hay.
Mine's going to be really quick. There's, as a resident of Martin County, I believe the ranch shows a great deal of promise for our community. This project demonstrates that you can develop while you still support conservation. The amount of land preservation and open space is really impressive with this project. Clearly, there's been a great deal of careful planning that kept in mind Martin County in maintaining its rural feel. We should use this project as a blueprint for others down the road in the future to continue making our community and its future better. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Sam Hay is going to be followed by Darlene Van Riper.
Good morning. I'm Sam Hay. I live in Port Salerno. Commissioners, first, I would like to remind you of a fundamental fact that some of you seem to have forgotten. You were elected to serve and defend the interest of the people of Martin County, not outside developers whose primary motivation is to exploit our natural treasures for their own profit. In particular, I would like to address those of you who originally voted to approve extending the so-called rural lifestyle designation 6,000 feet beyond the urban services boundary to accommodate the developers of Kousa Creek Ranch. I urge you to reconsider your vote of last December and overturn this grievous error. To begin with, approval of this amendment to our comprehensive plan renders the urban services boundary meaningless for all practical purposes. In addition, it neglects to address the concerns expressed by the South Florida Water Management District that the proposed project fails to provide assurance of adequate stormwater management and water quality protection. Whatever the developers might say, there is little doubt that the heavy fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides of 2 golf courses would eventually wash into our already severely threatened waters. Do we really need more golf courses? Finally, who's going to pay for all the infrastructure improvements that will inevitably become necessary if the Kousa project is carried through? Whatever assurances we may initially be given that Martin County taxpayers won't be on the hook for these, expenses for roads, fire protection, law enforcement, wastewater treatment will likely fall on our shoulders. My taxes are already high enough. Please do the right thing for the people of our county and for future generations. Overturn the approval of Kousa Ranch and reject any further amendments to weaken our comprehensive plan.
Ms. Van Riper will be followed by Mr. Brandon Tucker, unless you have, you'll wait till later? Okay.
Good morning, generously paid commissioners. I guess everything's relative. Anyway, Darlene Van Riper, Hope Sound resident. Somebody spoke earlier saying we don't want overdevelopment, and we don't. And that's why I'm totally in favor of this Kousa Creek project, because of the amount of land that they will preserve. 3,547 acres. That's more than 91% open space. 1,200 acres of preserved wetlands. $25 million in estimated annual tax revenue. We could build a bigger golf course, maybe. This is private industry paying us to preserve land. What more could you ask for? And I would make the comment that there was a gentleman here who represented the golf course industry, but he had made a presentation some months ago, which was a fabulous presentation. And if you are of the opinion that golf courses are the golf courses of yesteryear that used to pollute, you really need to watch that presentation. I'm speaking basically to the audience, if that's allowed, because it is so informative and enlightening. So please do vote in favor of this project. Thank you.
Mr. Tom Pine's next. I'm sorry, I forgot. And followed by
All About Achieving Learning Center kids.
Tammy.
This one is the All About Achieving Learning Center
I know, but
kids. They're little kids. Bring them all at once.
Oh, okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Tom Pine. I'm a resident of Jensen Beach. In today's consent agenda, $29,566,300 $36.14 were spent between March 25th and April 14th, 2024, without identifying the payees or the purpose of the payments. Not long ago, the Stewart News did a story about the St. Lucie County Commissioners abusing the consent agenda. Maybe someday soon, the Stewart News will do a story about how our Martin County Commissioners abuse the consent agenda too. The past two public meetings I've attended, two different men questioned me on how raising the sales tax adds to food insecurity. The second man noted in comments that there is no sales tax on food. I will try once again to explain that there is a direct relationship between food insecurity and raising the sales tax. I'm sure both of these men have heard the term living paycheck to paycheck. But obviously, they don't understand the full meaning. At the end of the week, there's no money left after paying all your bills, rent, mortgage, utilities, clothes, auto, and last but not least, food. So every time you raise taxes on people living in this situation, the food budget is the only place they have to cut their expenses. Yes, I'm well aware there's no sales tax on food directly, but if you take the time to look at the total picture, raising sales tax adds to food insecurity. During the budget hearing of 2023, for the first time in memory, the commissioner chambers were packed with local taxpayers concerned about the county's tax bill. The number one issue many of the speakers from various homeowners association and condo association was the fact that many long-term residents having trouble making ends meet. These are some of the same people in Martin County that have dropped their homeowners insurance in order to make ends meet. Palm Beach Post, April 29th, 2024, front page, move, cut back, or go bare. More Florida seniors are facing prohibitive home insurance costs. So yes, raising the local sales tax does add to food insecurity. Indirectly, but it still does. Maybe it's time for those pushing this worthy initiative to consider forming a nonprofit, solicit money from the many local residents that support this effort, and leave those that are struggling be. We can't use the tax dollars for low-income housing because the taxpayers would be up in arms. But it's okay to spend $40 million on a train station because the Chamber of Commerce wants it. Sad. What you permit, what you promote. What you allow, you encourage. What you condone, you own. Thank you.
Tammy, if you would pronounce your name correctly, it's going to be followed
Absolutely.
by Larry Mueller.
Tammy Semino. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you. I want to just say I am one of those taxpayers who love everything about Martin County, who actually loves everything that you, your staff, have provided for us in the way of a quality of life. We are different because we do our due diligence. And part of that is by maintaining both our economic and our environmental lands so it works for all of us, not just some, but all of us. I'd like to continue to encourage you to continue these smart growth policies that we have in place by supporting the ranch. It not only has environmental, and I won't go through all the numbers because I know you're probably sleeping in. Environmentally, it's still agriculture, it's low density. Economically, it makes sense. It's travel, tourism for the golfing. And it attracts people who really do love Martin County and think it's a special place that end up moving here for all the right reasons, not the bad reasons that some people come. I thought it was kind of funny when I was going through my homework, looking up things that had to do with the Western land studies and stuff that we've all been through for many, many years, that I came across an article that actually Maggie Hercella wrote, and I just want to quote just a little bit of it for you. Martin County is sometimes accused of encouraging sprawl by its 15-unit density cap, its 4-story height limit, its strict wetland preservation requirements, its requirements for both preservation of native habitat on the site, its general low density and less intense lifestyle. Now, if she were here today, this is the ranch. This is exactly what it does. So I just want to remind you that not only have you guys done an awesome job in protecting Martin County the assets we have in providing a great quality of life for everybody, but so have previous commissions have done it. It's smart growth. You can't just say no. You have always helped us look for a better way to do something so that we all have a win-win. Incredible tax base, incredible farming, incredible aquaculture. I mean, it's a win-win. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Mr. Mueller, I just noticed that you have PH3 on that. Would you?
No, this is fine. Thank you.
I said Mueller.
Larry Mueller's in the lobby. I see him out there.
Okay, so I'll push him off to PH3. Same with Brian Schwann, PH3. Or, okay, I'll put you there anyway. Miss Benny Caffrey.
Good morning, commissioners and other guests. I'm Benny Caffrey, head of school at the Pine School located in Hobe Sound, Florida. Some of you might not know, but Banner Lake is actually located on the Pine School's 170-plus acre campus. It is the school's goal to restore this sheet flow wetland to its natural beauty. This wetland was disturbed decades before the Pine School purchased the land, and we would love to see it functioning the way it was intended to. A few years ago, the Pine School worked with Martin County and agreed to contribute tens of thousands of dollars to extend a water study Martin County had already engaged with Tetra Technologies. The work of that project is ongoing. The school at the time also did some mitigation in the lake to begin removing some of the overgrown species. Last fall, we were fortunate to meet Ken and Suzanne Basked. They have a healthy interest in the Pine School and education broadly, and it was my pleasure to tour them around the Pine School's campus. They were impressed with our natural beauty and immediately stepped forward to donate up to $50,000 of in-kind service to help us with our first phase of restoration for Banner Lake. The Pine School was fortunate and accepted this gift. We are eager to have community support for restoration of Banner Lake and hope to see more community interest in restoring our sheet flow wetland in the future. Thank you so much.
Okay, Linda Richards is followed by Kim Dinkins, which is also PH3 if you'd like to postpone that or no. Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am here to speak to you about an email that was sent to all of you a few weeks ago, and it is to talk about a project that is on Canner, the Canner CPUD, which I fully understand is in the city of Stuart. However, it borders the county. We live in the county. I am here because there has been multiple instances where water has been discharged quickly off of that property into the swales, directly into our river, through the canals that are on the side of Cabana Point. There has been nothing done. There has been nothing done to this developer. They have admitted to it. There is proof that it happened. It happened 3 times where a breach happened and the water flooded the nursery property into the swales under Canner Highway directly into our river. And then it has happened most recently into the swale in front of Riverland, where it went rapidly into our river. It is taking construction silt into our river. The developers can't be held accountable. Now, after listening to everything about what's going on with what's going on in our westerly lands, I want you to think of how you are actually going to hold these developers accountable. Because they're going in and they start, and you know what? There is nothing you can do to stop them or hold them accountable. Because once they start, that's it. So I'm looking at a small 50-acre parcel, you know, just 19 acres of upland scrub disturbed and 10 wetlands disturbed, and we see what's happening there. And now we look at the western lands of what you're going to do. I would look really closely at the feedback of what's going on in the city of Stuart of the properties that they annexed out of the county changed their land uses to a land use that was basically created just like this land use that you guys are looking at today. And look at the fallout from that before you go quickly approving these projects. Thank you.
Kim Dinkins. Okay, how about Tammy Simone? Semino? She already went. Oh, she wants to talk about the ranch.
First Tammy coming.
Okay.
I think that I am actually the Tammy you cannot pronounce the last name of.
You got to speak louder, ma'am.
Okay, Formanak.
What?
Tammy Formanak, who is with SOS. Could that have been the one that you called first?
Well, no, that's not it, but go ahead, I'll find your, did you fill out one of these?
I did, yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, I'm here in supporting Port Solano and SOS. And I would just like to read this to you. It's the Capital Improvement Plan Book outlines the county's budget allocation but lacks the details regarding Salerno CRA. The language is vague and provides public works with considerable flexibility. This could be detrimental to Port Salerno as the board language allows for a wide range of projects. The exception is SPS/Manatee Park, Manatee Business Park, page, which includes plans for significant work on the Commerce Avenue. The ancillary improvements for the neighborhood specifies these improvements, which the neighborhood they pertain to are unclear. Another page focuses on the resurfacing of Commerce Avenue, extending to Salerno Road, which may not be necessary within the Salerno CRA. The idea that the Commerce Avenue is a crucial marine transportation route has been debunked, and it appears that the project aims to widen the right-of-way through a residential area to create a new downtown without input from the residents. Other pages hint at construction of a linear park without explicitly stating it. One mentions the multiple modal pathways without specifications in locations, potentially aligning with the business players' plans for a boardwalk. The other page proposes channel enhancement, which some commissioners equate to the Salerno Creek Boardwalk in Linear Park. Any work on Salerno Creek should involve input from the NAC and is not part of the Salerno CRA plan. Additionally, there is a page dedicated to Port Salerno CRA improvements focusing on infrastructure. For future growth and enhancing the aesthetics, priority projects chosen from CIP and CRA plan are ambiguous and should range from the railroad, bridge, to on-street parking. The issue lies in misrepresentation and manipulation of the CRA plan for alternative purposes without input or approval for Port Salerno NAC or CRA board. So thank you very much.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Kim Dinkins. I apologize. I was in the lobby. I was going to speak on PH3.
Well, do you want to talk at PH3 or you want to talk?
I can talk now. I'm already here.
Okay.
May as well. Again, my name is Kim Dinkins. I'm the Policy and Planning Director for 1,000 Friends of Florida. We're a nonprofit organization that advocates for smart growth throughout the state. You may recall that we oppose the establishment of the Rural Lifestyle Future Land Use designation for the exact reasons that I'm standing here today. It promotes the extension of public facilities outside of the urban services district and results in leapfrog development patterns, the definition of sprawl. The proposed text amendment seeks to push development even farther out than what was originally allowed, and removes a reference to the maximum one dwelling unit per 5 acres. Even though it still is contained in the text, it makes the intent more ambiguous rather than clearer without setting any new standards to ensure that the areas not slated for development at this time will remain that way into the future through conservation easements. Extending rural lifestyle projects more than a mile from the urban services district boundaries would vastly increase the area vulnerable to negative environmental and community impacts from development, including water pollution, congested roads, and higher taxes to stretch and maintain those public services. We acknowledge that cluster development is sometimes preferred and is a good tool to preserve tracts of land with sensitive areas or that could otherwise provide green space. But in cases like this, where the density is already limited to 1 dwelling unit per 20 acres, you're not really getting any bang for the buck, especially when clustering is being used as a justification to extend those services into rural areas. Other policies could be created to protect sensitive lands while still allowing owners to develop portions of their property without bringing public facilities into play. Regarding the PUD, there's no guarantee that water quality will be improved by converting current ag lands to golf courses. In fact, golf courses are known to be some of the most intensely fertilized and irrigated lands in the state. And the current PUD agreement doesn't specifically require best management practices, reduced irrigation, or water quality monitoring in those areas. It also seems that, given the amount of land that's being set aside for preservation, retaining just 25% of the native trees is a little bit of a low bar. In short, we ask you that you reject the text amendment in the PUD as currently proposed. Anywhere new golf courses are planned throughout the county, ensure they're subject to low-impact design and maintenance, and that they're not eligible to conversion to other residential or more intense uses in the future. Thank you.
Okay, I have 3 request to speak forms with multiple names on them. That is the All About Achieving Learning Center, and apparently they need to go back to school, so we're going to ask them to come up all together, I guess, and choose a couple of people to speak. 3 different topics. Okay, all right, well, let's start with affordable housing. Whoever's going to speak about affordable housing. Huh? Yeah. And I apologize, I didn't realize you guys needed to go back to school, but I'm sure you appreciate sitting here and not being in school. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When do I start?
Okay, state your name or names.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ellie Grace.
My name's Ava.
We are here today to talk about affordable housing for essential workers. Waiters, car mechanics, police officers, firefighters, teachers, crossing guards, and construction workers all do different essential jobs. Still, they have one thing in common. They may need to make more money to continue to live in Martin County. Think about all the work they do and how little they get paid.
These people do so much for our community, and yet they make so little and can barely afford to live here. Why is this?
Well, for one thing, some people think that if a smaller or more affordable house is near theirs, it loses some of its value. Secondly, there are also buildings and physical space issues. We are creating so many other significant, unnecessary things that are taking up valuable space for smaller houses or even communal living. Think about the number of gas stations, car washes, restaurants, and luxury apartment complexes being built in Martin County.
Not only are they taking up valuable space, but even the apartments and townhouses that are being constructed are asking for extremely high prices to buy or rent them that the average essential worker is not able to afford.
In March of 2024, it was documented that there were allowed around 1,100 tiny homes for sale in Martin County. However, I would barely call them affordable at this point, as most traditional single-family homes cost nearly $500,000. And considering over 500,000 people in the state of Florida make less than $30,000 a year, I don't think that's sustainable for anyone.
Single families and essential workers are struggling to make ends meet as it is, let alone having the ability to afford housing in Martin County. And over 8% past the food, so that $34,000 increase on average is so much harder for people that they don't have large incomes in Martin County.
Another big problem is the population. People are constantly moving here, taking up space, building and buying houses, making even less room for lower class citizens. My solution is to require all new housing units to require affordable housing before large homes. Although I may not know how to solve this problem, I do know that Martin County used to be a small town that had beautiful beaches, amazing schools, and affordable houses for the average family to be able to afford. As Martin County continues to expand in population and in business, the cost of living has also expanded dramatically as well.
The average home price in Martin County has now reached unprecedented levels, and unfortunately, many people, like essential workers or even people who have lived here their whole lives, may not be able to stay here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then let's talk about non-service animals. How about that? Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, County Commissioners. Before I want to talk, I want to say thank you for letting me talk to you. My name is Luke Anthony Longo.
My name is Luca.
My name is Jackson.
And I'm Eli. We are with All About Achieving Learner Center and want to discuss something important. Non-service animals in public. The main issue about non-service animals is that people bring them everywhere they're not supposed to, like restaurants, stores, baseball parks, etc.
Unfortunately, some businesses do not follow state and local laws and allow non-service animals into their buildings or facilities. Bringing their pets into restaurants and stores creates numerous problems for the average citizen. For example, we have noticed the following issues involving non-service animals in Martin County.
Dogs barking nonstop at people in public places. Animals go to the bathroom in public and their owners do not clean it up.
The creation of unsanitary conditions where people bring their animals into restaurants and grocery stores where people eat food and shop for their food as well. People have allergic reactions to having these non-service animals in the stores and restaurants that they are shopping at.
Anxiety and fear by children and adults who do not like animals or have had bad negative experiences with different stages of their life. Animal attacks in public. Just a few weeks ago, a child was bitten at a Martin County baseball field by a non-service animal that was not on a leash.
Again, we understand the need for service animals in public, especially people who really need them. However, the number of people bring their animals into public places have become alarming in Martin County. Pets are not people, and they definitely should not be public places where they could cause a disturbance or affect someone's allergies, impact the safety of stores and restaurants, or cause unnecessary sickness or paranoia for others.
As a result, we have come up with a solution. We need to make stricter local rules for non-service animals in public.
For example, people won't be served if they bring non-service animals to businesses and can be asked to leave, and if they don't, it would be considered trespassing. Or businesses themselves could be fined for not following the rules as well. Some companies are only concerned about making a profit, so they allow any type of animal in their store, regardless of whether or not it is registered service animal.
Lastly, one of the most powerful tools is education. Educating citizens about the negative effects of non-service animals in public is important. Thank you for your time and consideration upon this issue.
Okay, now we're going to talk about water quality. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Karen Hollander. And my name is Colby Galinas. We attend the All About Achieving Learning Center.
We got to get close. You guys got to get closer to the mic, thanks.
Hello, my name is Karen Hollander. And my name is Colby Galinas. We attend the All About Achieving Learning Center.
We're concerned about what is happening with the dumping of Lake Okeechobee. Unfortunately, the dumping is killing oyster bars, seagrass, birds, and other sea animals in large numbers. It is also creating blue-green algae, which is killing a lot of marine life and can severely hurt you if you swim in it.
The nutrient-rich polluted water that is filled with nutrients like phosphate and nitrogen from Lake Okeechobee can transport toxic blue-green algae to the coast and has been found to intensify existing red tide blooms, supercharging them and leading to massive marine kills like we experienced 3 to 4 years ago.
Billions of gallons of water from Lake Okeechobee is getting dumped into St. Lucie River, Lake Worth Lagoon, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Gulf of Mexico, which is making the water toxic and negatively transforming our local ecosystem. Instead of dumping this toxic water into the rivers, one solution that we came up with is to dump this toxic water into the Everglades, because how dry it gets between the months of December through April, and this gives us enough time to fix the blue-green algae, and also the plants in the Everglades are a natural filter, which could filter out the toxic blue-green algae. This would help the issue because it would lessen the amount of water in Lake Okeechobee, it would lessen the amount of negative effects on our local marine life.
This issue is incredibly important to us as we have lived our whole lives in Martin County and have enjoyed fishing, boating, and being out on the water since we were little kids, and hope to still do so in clean water, so we hope that one day you will stop dumping Lake Okeechobee water into our local rivers.
Thank you so much for your time.
Very good. Next time you decide to do this, let us know, and then we can get you in and out. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, thank you. John. John, what looks like L. Hips. Followed by Chad Minor, maybe?
Good morning, Commissioners. First of all, I would like to thank each of you for your service to our community. First of all, I would like to thank each of you for your service to our community here in Martin County. And also, what comes to mind is those beautiful parks that you've expanded and maintained here. It really makes a big difference to our community. This morning, I am here to propose a 10-year moratorium on all new planned unit developments. So the reason for this is that we already have on the books many developments that have not even been put in place yet. There's thousands of units that we've approved, but not yet even implemented. And so this is straining our infrastructure, our roads, our utilities, our schools. And there's also environmental concerns because it leads to massive deforestation and destruction of our wildlife. There's also quality of life issues because when we have all this massive overdevelopment, roads are clogged, people get stressed, there's a quality of life that just deteriorates. And so I think that's important that we need to look at. And the housing market stability and economics is very important because if we put too many developments in too quickly, we're liable to have an oversupply of housing, which could actually deteriorate our economic stability in the community. And lastly, public input in planning. I think we need to take a deep breath. We've done so much here in Martin County, and truly, we've done a lot of really great things. Arguably, we've done a wonderful job, like I said, with our parks, our community. You know, we have small businesses that have sprung up, and we've done a great job with a lot of that. But now it's time to take a deep breath and say, look, we need to do some additional planning to really look at this. And so finally, I think that to summarize, if we could allow us some time to step back and look at making some infrastructure improvements to catch up with all the demand and preserve the character of our existing neighborhoods and temper the real estate speculation in Martin County. This would give us a wonderful opportunity to step back and look at maybe some lands that we could purchase to help us maintain important lands that are really good for the environment. And again, thank you.
Sir, your Time is up.
Chad Minor is probably going to need to fix that. And Carol Pelton.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Name.
So, I came here.
Is it really? I got it right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pardon?
Never mind. I just couldn't read your writing, and I'm sorry. And I got it.
So, I just wanted to speak on behalf of development that's going on. Lived here majority of my life. My parents left an urban area down south so that they can raise their kids on what they had grown up with, which disappeared for them. And I feel like for my kids, my future kids, I'll be telling the same story that my parents told, where yesteryear is the only thing I can speak of. My ask is that growth is imminent. It's going to happen. But to put aside future development and outweigh the cost and economic input in favor of our culture and the beauty of our community, I ask that you think of us residents first with greater weight than investors, developers, and all those that you're faced with right now. I hope that you vote against Western sprawl. Our fishing, our hunting, all of it has kind of put aside. Things that we love, things that our community loves. You always build what somebody wants. Golfers want more golf courses. Consumers want more malls. As a fisherman and a hunter, I want rural lands. I want clean water. And I feel that I am not the only voice that has those concerns. So I wish that you consider me as well as other residents when you make decisions going forward and help preserve the beauty of Martin County. That's all I have. Thank you.
Carol Pelton, you want to speak now or okay?
Good morning. My name's Carol Pelton. I live in the Foxwood community, and I'm in western Martin County by South Fork High School. I just want to say that it took me 35 minutes to come in 8 miles today in Martin County, and they're proposing more and more traffic lights to get into this, our county. The development that's out there is crazy, and the proposed development that's coming our way is crazy, with 4,000 homes they're proposing across the street, in the fields across the street from us. There's a big warehouse facility that's out there, and now we have 2-3 golf courses that are surrounding us. I want to speak to the environment. I would love transparency to tell me how you did gopher tortoise studies on those lands. There's a lot of wildlife out there. When a developer comes in, they wipe out all the trees. Where do the birds go? Where do the tortoises go? Where do the wildlife goes? We have more roadkill on those roads today because of development. It's like a bait and switch when you start lightening up your comprehensive plans and developing a little bit further west. We got stung by Christ Fellowship. They came out there as a church community. They were Project 300. They were going to do all this for the community. We in Foxwood said, great idea. 5 years later, they sold it to Pulte Homes. Joe Flanagan was on that land planning committee that approved the development of those homes, 300 homes on 300 acres. They're 15 feet in between them. Now, they wiped out trees. We've been inundated with the barrels that are in those roads. They still can't get the irrigation right on the middle part of that road. If Joe Flanagan went out there today, his only concern was, don't mess with my fishing creek. Are you going to put that water into that fishing creek? I invite you all to go to the western half of this county that you're going to vote to say, let's expand it, and see the devastation that's out there in that environment. But I would love transparency. Who's doing the environmental studies? Who's keeping them accountable? Is the EPA in there? Florida Wildlife Commission out there? Because do you bury gopher holes, and pay the fines? Who's doing that? The developers are telling us. I attended that land planning agency, and they did a great job as far as what they did as far as conservation of the trees. But what did they do with the animals that were living on that land? So I urge you to vote no. And let's take a breath, and there have been a lot of good presentations today and concerns raised by the
Your time is up. Thank you.
We have Dr. Tracy Miller. Want to talk now? Or?
Hello, Doctor.
Morning.
Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. A pleasure to be here this morning. Tracy Miller, Deputy Superintendent, the Martin County School District. And I just want to take an opportunity this morning to share a little bit of information with you about a community collaborative partnership between the Martin County School Board to enhance and really rejuvenate the golf course that exists at South Fork High School that has really been defunct for the last several years. Really bringing that back to be able to support two very important career and technical programs at South Fork High School. Those two academies are the Landscape and Turf Grass Management programs and our Agri-Science Technology program, our Agriculture Technologies. These two programs are really important to help provide pathways for our students in the school district to be able to be college and career ready when they leave the school district and really be able to meet a market need here in Martin County. So we're very appreciative of community and collaborative partners who come forth to the school district to help provide support and really get behind our students and the mission of the Martin County School District in order to educate all students for success and to ensure that they are college career ready and able to be collaborative partners here in Martin County when they graduate from our school district. So I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Miss Wendy Shipman. Wendy? I thought I saw her. Well, I'm going to push her off too. Here she comes. Do you want to wait till the item or talk now? She'll talk now.
Good morning. Can you hear me now? Better? All right. Thank you for having me this morning. My name is Wendy Shetman. I'm the instructor of the Academy of Landscape and Turfgrass Management at South Fork High School.
She is a national superstar. Yes, she is.
Thank you. Thank you. We are super excited to be partnering with the ranch. Our golf course has needed some community help for a little bit. And so they're going to bless us with a $750,000 donation, as well as collaboration, on-the-job training opportunities, a caddy program, all kind of wonderful things to help build a relationship and also a pipeline for jobs for my students, which is something that I've been working on most of my career. I've been a teacher in Martin County for 15 years. And I'm very excited when my students get hired and are able to have successful jobs. So this is a really important partnership for us, and we really need their support. So we're really looking forward to all of the other opportunities as well that this project will allow, including having the UF research extension agents there as well. We can do field trips. They're going to have a beef program, so both agriculture programs are going to benefit from this collaboration and provide lots of job opportunities for my students, which they need. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Renee Morseal. And you can fix that when you get up here.
Good morning. I'm Renee Lassard Morshed from Jensen Beach, and I first want to thank you for taking off the agenda the Mango Lane extension. That was totally unclear. But I'm here to talk about the ranch. A month ago, just about a month ago, the lawmakers at the state and federal levels earmarked a combined $1.165 billion for the next 12 months for work restoring the Everglades. Okay, the amount sets a record for how much money taxpayers will spend in a year on the restoration, and it shows how much we're willing to save this area. The Everglades has never seen this kind of funding. The South Florida Water Management District comments that they oppose the ranch because it's in direct opposition to what we're trying to do. You are encouraging, the ranch is located more than a mile from our urban service boundary. Now, we're giving them access to public utilities. So within that mile, what's going to happen? And we're trying to preserve area for Everglades restorations. We need to stop this. And like you said, put a hold on it for a year. We got enough PUDs going around and things that the county obviously doesn't know what they're writing about. They don't have time to get their plan straight. Look at the Mango Terrace catastrophe. That's all I have to say. Thanks, and have a great day.
Mr. Brandon Tucker, followed by Carol Fitzpatrick, which is my last speaker form for public.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and county staff. Brandon Tucker, Executive Director of Florida Landowners Association. Mr. Chairman, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come back and speak after I deferred earlier for the agenda item, and I will speak again there. But what I was hearing, some of you may know that I'm the former past chair of the Governing Board of the South Florida Water Management District, and hearing these comments about one particular email from one particular staff member about this project, there are 1,500 very passionate employees of the South Florida Water Management District at Gun Club Road that are all about Everglades restoration, about protecting our lagoon, protecting our estuaries, protecting water quality. As this project moves forward, I can assure you that through the environmental resource permitting process and the review process that is very stringent with the Water Management District, that if there's anything that would cause damage to the ecosystem, that they will not be issuing a permit for this project. So I think that's very important to note. And lastly, what I'll leave you with before I speak later is right now, currently, this piece of property with the current land use and the current zoning in place, we can have 200 houses with 200 septic tanks with 200 drain fields, and this proposal was much better for this piece of property and for the environment. So we'll be speaking later. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Carol Fitzpatrick.
Good morning. I'm Carol Fitzpatrick of the Florida Club. To me, this is important, what I'm going to have to say. Before you approve any more new developments, could you please widen Bridge Road? I was astounded at the land planning meeting when I learned that they weren't intending to widen it until 2045. Is that crazy? This is on your shoulders. You need to do something about it. And as for the waters coming off all of these new developments, we need oversight from the county, not the developers. Thank you.
Okay. And with that, that is my last speaker form that is not earmarked for a specific item. We need to break for our closed captioning folks to catch up for about 10 minutes, and we will reconvene. Thank you. And we're on. Okay, good. Okay, we are going to take up our 9:30 preset at 11 o'clock. Request for concurrence of the appointment of the administrator of the Florida Department of Health in Martin County, Mr. Donaldson. Oop, I caught him with his mouth full, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll blame Commissioner Campy on the cookie. So the Florida Department of Health has selected Nicholas Clifton as Administrator of Florida Department of Health in Martin County, and the Department of Health is requesting Martin County Board of County Commissioners concurrence on the appointment. I'll say that it was my pleasure to sit on the selection committee with Commissioner Jenkins. I thought that during the interview process, they had some really good competition for the job, but Nick overwhelmingly, with his knowledge and character, where I thought he blew it away, personally. So the recommendation is that the board fully endorse the selection of Nicholas Clifton to be our Department of Health Administrator for Martin County. And with that, we need a motion from the board to do so.
Commissioner Campy apparently wants to make a motion.
I do.
Only a motion, though.
What? How dare you? I had the opportunity, as you just did, to sit on the selection committee when they hired Carlette Peck, who did a remarkable job. And then when Ms. Peck was thinking about retiring, I was concerned. And then Carol Vitani showed up at just the opportune time. What most people don't realize is the health department is not a Martin County health department. It's the state of Florida health department located in Martin County. But we do have a very close working relationship with normally the head and their team. They have a remarkable team. In the last couple of years, we have gone through a hepatitis A outbreak in Martin County, sort of focused, it felt like, in Palm City. There was the pandemic. There was a pandemic, and several other issues that thankfully didn't plague us as much as they could. But the leadership from the health department, including at that point in more of an assistant position, Nick Clifton, I could not be happier for our community that it's going to be Nick. He's a local. He's very professional, very knowledgeable. And for my sadness to see Carol leave, it's my pleasure to nominate and make a motion to accept Nicholas Clifton being promoted to Administrator of the Health Department of Florida, the Florida Department of Health in Martin County. Congratulations, sir.
Okay, I think the next light was Commissioner Heatherington, but I'm not sure, but I'm going to go with that.
I tried to get to my light before Commissioner Campy got to his because, of course, he said it all now. So I will just say, Carol, you have done a tremendous job. You came in under enormous pressure and a very interesting time in history. So thank you so much for your service, and I wish you all the best in your retirement. And I don't think we could have gotten a better pick for, as a local resident, raising his family here. I congratulate Nick, and you've done a tremendous job already. We've done some very complicated, convoluted projects in Monterey subdivision. You all worked through that so seamlessly with a collaboration with the City of Stewart and DEP. So I think the Florida Department of Health is in great hands, and congratulations.
Commissioner Hurt.
And I'll second the motion.
I just want to say also that the people don't realize what a complicated balancing act the health department is. You have to balance regional, global, and local issues, and you do a fantastic job of it. So thank you, Carol, and Nick is an inspired choice for your replacement. Thanks.
Commissioner Smith.
Well, it's almost good being last because everything that was
You're
just
not last. I'm last.
Huh?
I'm last.
Almost last. Everything everybody just said. Carol, I'd say one thing about you and Nick together in your performance with us as a board, and I'm sure you dealt with all of us the same way. On a regular basis, both of you came and met with us. and shared either what we knew what was going on or what we didn't know what was going on and needed to know what was going on. And in our jobs, it's important to understand the dynamics of what is going on, because there's an effect on everything. And your department, your agency, on the health side of what occurs in a community is incredibly important. So, Carol, I wish you the very best. Thank you for stepping in, as others said, in a really difficult time, and a time where when you work for the state, you don't really work for us. You're here, and messaging from the state and messaging from us is very convoluted and difficult to filter. But you did a remarkable job, both of you did, honestly, and helping us understand our place and what we could do, what we couldn't do during the pandemic, and so on. And so I know it was difficult because there were times where the public expected us to have answers, and sometimes there weren't answers. And everybody wanted to look back at you two and go, you guys have the answers. Nick, are you sure you really want to do this? I think that's the bigger question. Thanks again, both of you. Nick, congratulations. We look forward to continuing the great rapport that we have, and Martin County's in a good place because of all your work. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
I get to go last, so I have really appreciated working with Carol and Nick as a team, over these past few years. They're wonderful, and some of these serious issues that came up, they were great about helping somebody like me understand exactly what the ramifications were. Nick, I've known for quite a long time, apparently. He grew up with my sons. And I and Don sat through the interview, and all I can say is he knocked it out of the park. He knew the subject matter. He knows what's going on. He has the pulse of Martin County under his thumb. He knows exactly what the deal is, and we could not have a better applicant, and I fully support him. So with that,
From the applicant. Let's
that-
get him. Let's hear from him.
Really
Come
gonna
on.
put him
I have
on
a
the
question for him.
Nick,
Come on.
I did not do that to you.
Come on.
He did.
Well, we already have the opportunity to know him, but maybe the community who he will serve would like to hear a little bit about your background.
Don't expect him to look like this ever again.
Just a little bit about myself.
Yes, please.
So I'm a product of the Martin County School District. I went to Hidden Oaks and South Fork and grew up in Western Palm City. Went to school, got a bachelor's in biology at the University of South Florida. Recently got a master's in health administration from FAU. Have a background with DOH and the emergency preparedness and the environmental side. And as of the last 5 years under Carol's tutelage, I've gotten some experience in about every single program and stuff that you guys, I've worked with all of you guys on, as far as like the pandemic and water projects and water contamination and blue-green algae. And I think that we've been through more in the last 5 years as a county than most. And that's what I got. That's what I got to offer.
Well, we appreciate that. A local boy makes good. So congratulations. Well, we haven't voted yet.
Okay, and I guess we should go through the formal thing and actually vote. So we have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. All right, we're going to move on now to Neighborhood Advisory Committee appointees. Let's hold off.
Everybody else did?
Yeah. How many people applied?
Huh?
How many people applied?
3.
No, not for this, for the next job.
Oh, there was one, well, they'd whittled it down.
Oh, somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
Donna Gordon for administration. This is for Jensen Beach. I'm asking that you reappoint Robert Wire. And for Port Salerno, we had 3 applicants, and Mrs. Christina Waldron Ardigo received 3 votes.
Move approval of Robert Wire and Christina Artigo.
Okay, with that, we have a motion by Commissioner Hurd, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, now we're going to move off to PH number 1. We have, and the reason is because we have 2 speaker forms, so obviously 2 people in the room.
Can we do commissioner comments first?
Oh,
I just
yeah.
have one small.
I'm sorry, I completely forgot about that. Yes, ma'am.
One small item, and it's just a practical matter. If you've been following South Florida Water Management District recommendations, your yard is brown right now because we're in the midst of a rather severe drought, which is terrific for Lake Okeechobee and the estuaries. Lake Okeechobee has decreased by 2 feet in the last 2 months, which is great news. But for water managers, it's been a bit of a challenge. So I understand that tomorrow begins Sailfish Sands summer membership, and I understand there's a proposal to reverse the 9 holes, the black course, which is a great idea under normal circumstances, but the water managers there have had to prioritize watering, and therefore they've only watered the 27 holes that have been in play. So the black course is well played, it's popular. The reverse is very brown, and as a practical matter, when it's the superintendent, the water managers, the greens managers there, they can turn this around, but they can't do it this quickly. So I would suggest that we keep the course, the holes that are open now open until we can get some rain, so that we can, because otherwise our members are going to be very disappointed to have to play on completely brown holes.
I don't know anything about it. So, I mean, are you basing that on your experience in golf, or?
Yeah.
Or did someone tell you that that's a good idea?
No, I just found out that it was going to be, that the new 9 holes was going to be open, and they haven't been watered.
No,
They
what you're saying
they
makes
are
perfect
brown.
sense, but are we going to hear from someone from Parks and Rec? I mean, because look, if I support your decision, it seems like you're speaking specifically, so.
Commissioner Heatherington.
I'd love to hear an entire presentation, maybe on the 14th or the next meeting. We can get Parks to do a presentation on the
On the
moving
reversible
and-
9?
Yes, the reversible 9, and how that's going to function.
I'll move to do a temporary halt on the changing of the black course, and have a discussion on May 14th.
Second.
Commissioner Smith.
Just a aside to that, remember that the STA that we built in back of the school barn bus building was specifically designed to tie in to rehydrate the ponds at the golf course to make sure that we had water that we were cleaning and even cleaning it further. So we should be consuming every ounce of water that comes out of that thing and using it. And I don't know why, I don't know why that.
They're low, I can tell you that. They're
Ponds are low?
They're 2 feet lower than they were a month ago.
And how about the STA?
Don't know, but it's very dry. I mean, we've had extraordinary dry season.
We have some wetlands up on Savannah Road that are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
I get it. But that system was piped in and tied in so that we could consume every bit of the water that we're trying to clean up. So I guess we'll hear about it later.
Yeah,
Can you
this-
repeat the motion?
yeah, that's fine. I'll wait till we have the presentation.
I move to postpone the changing of the black course to the reversible 9 until we can have a discussion about it from the Parks Department on May 14th.
Otherwise, they're switching it tomorrow.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hurd, seconded by Commissioner Campy. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thanks.
You have anything?
No, sir.
I don't have anything. Do you have anything?
No, all set.
Okay. Now, I forgot what we're doing. Okay, public hearing number 1, public hearing to, and a final assessment resolution for the Harbor Estates Gaines Avenue Water Main Extension Municipal Service Benefit Unit. Mr. Sam Emerson is over there, and Phil Keithley. And neither one of you are them, so go ahead.
No, Leo Rapetti, Tax Service Administrator with Martin County Utilities, and presenting today, Dave Duncan, Project Manager for this assessment. And Sam's in the wings if we need him.
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Duncan, Project Manager. For the record, David Duncan, Project Manager for the Utilities and Solid Waste Department. Martin County Utilities received a petition from Harbor Estates Gaines Avenue residents asking the Utilities Department to ballot the area for provision for water services to 160 properties that do not have availability of water services. After the completion of construction drawings, the cost proposals received from our annual underground contractors, a staff-level workshop was held on April 23rd at the Board of County Commissioners Chambers to explain the project scope, associated costs, and the assessment project. The work will complete the utilities in that area since sewer had been completed since March of 2023. A Florida Department of Environmental Protection permit to construct has been received by this department, and the lowest cost proposal has been selected for Martin County's annual underground construction contractors. If we go, let's see, next slide. Nope. Need to go back one. There we go. All righty. Slide 2, you'll see a site plan of the Harbor Estates Gaines Avenue area, including Stratford on the Waters and Cape Live Oak. Now, some of the anticipated benefits for the community would be enhanced water quality, since some of the existing wells are high in iron and sulfides. It would also ensure reliable supply of water, as well as continuous supply during power outages. And because we will be installing fire hydrants along with the water system supply, the potential for homeowners to recognize a reduction in the homeowner's insurance rates could be possible. This slide here, the proposed assessment includes 160 properties, which comes out to 162 ERCs. As indicated in the slide, the total project cost is $1,769,982. The Utilities Department is contributing $181,000, reducing the assessable cost to $1,588,982. Therefore, the sum is divided by 162 equivalent residential connections for an estimated prepayment amount of $9,808.53 per connection. This equates to an annual payment of $627.23 per unit, amortized over a 20-year period at a rate of 1.52% interest plus standard fees. Martin County currently serves 36,700 water customers, and the average residential water bill is roughly 6,000 gallons per month at a rate of $2.44 per 1,000 gallons. Based on the average water consumption, the base charge of $19.02, the average residential water customer would pay approximately $33.66 per month. With the approval of the final assessment resolution today, the department anticipates commencing construction in June 2024 and estimates a 6-month construction phase with completion in December of 2024. Lump sum payments of the assessment by the property owners would be due by August 1st of 2025, and any payments not received by that date would be shown on the annual property tax bill in November of 2025. That concludes my presentation.
Commissioner Heatherington.
Yes, I know that our residents in the area have been waiting for water for some time. I do have a question because I've received quite a bit of correspondence lately, and maybe you can explain to some constituents. There were some folks that maybe they spend the winter out of the area, and I think that they imagined they would have a zero bill versus the base. So could you explain a little bit how that works and for some of our residents?
The base charge for the water at $19.02, and then the consumption, they would just have a base charge if they had zero consumption for that month for the water.
The Martin County utility bills are broken into two components. The more water you use, the more water we have to pump out of the ground, we have to treat with chemicals, and transmit out to the residents. That's the variable portion of the water bill. The fixed bill, there's still a lot of fixed operations that go on behind the scene, and so that's the cost of maintaining the non-consumption portion of the utility in operation. So in this case, they would get a base bill of $19.02 a month, but no charge for consumption because we're not pumping any water to them.
I just think that we need to be really clear when we do our presentations to the public, because I've had a lot of misinterpretation on that recently, that people don't understand they're going to get a bill even if they don't consume any water. So I think this project, has been supported and much needed. I'll motion to approve it. I just ask that as you go about your education, whether it be in this neighborhood or some of the future ones, that you explain that base rate to the residents.
Will do.
Commissioner Smith.
So another way to say it is there is overhead to operating the system regardless of consumption?
That's correct.
So there's a plant, there's facilities, there's maintenance, there's staff, all of that goes on no matter whether we consume or we don't consume, to have the capacity when someone comes back after season that facility is operating and functioning.
You are correct.
And that is what the $19 effectively covers, is that baseline of what that costs to operate the system. Well, I'd say above and beyond, or below and beyond the consumption side.
Correct.
Thank you.
You have a chair down there.
Good job. Second.
Okay, before we vote, we have two speaker forms here, Bill and Ingrid Veneza. Venezia.
I guess you're opposed.
Good morning. My name is Bill Venezia.
Oh, I'm Ingrid Venetia. We live on Willow Lake Trail.
Hold the mic up a little bit, maybe.
How's that? Better. Okay, I wrote a short thing. I was just going to read it. We encourage the board to adopt a final assessment resolution for the Harbor Estates Gaines Avenue Area Water Municipal Service Benefit Unit. We understand the cost of the project and recognize the benefit to the property owners. We appreciate the civil service staff of Martin County Utilities and the Solid Waste Department who have worked with our neighborhoods so long and so hard to bring this resolution to the board for final endorsement, and I sincerely mean that. You guys have worked, I guess it's David now, but it was Phil Keithley. It's been an ongoing thing to satisfy a lot of people, and we truly appreciate it. The economic benefits for the homeowners are clear. Eliminating the septic systems reduces the maintenance and costs and mitigates the risk of expensive system failures. Moreover, removing the septic systems allows for other development on the property. You could bury a gas tank or do something else, plant some trees where you couldn't before, so it's all good. Finally, supporting the water main project is vital for maintaining the ecological integrity and aesthetic value of Martin County. Healthy waterways are essential for supporting marine life and recreational activities that drive our local economy. You all know this. I'm preaching to the choir. By reducing pollutants, and our particular area on Gaines is particularly bad because we have neither septic nor sewer. We have neither water nor sewer. The project is a positive step towards the sustainable and prosperous Martin County. I appreciate your time.
And I just want to echo that we are totally in favor of this project for the benefits to the river and for clean drinking water it will provide for the households in the area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Joseph Pisano.
Yes. My name is Joseph Pisano. I live at 200 Southwest Willow Lake Trail, which is Lot 6 in Cape Live Oak. My wife and I first met with John Pauley of Water Utilities in 2004. Excuse me. One of the subjects we discussed, besides our road, was having water and sewage mains extended. Since they already were installed, they already existed halfway down the street, which we could never understand why we weren't asked to join that, but that's another subject. Since my wife and I and neighbors, since then, my wife and I and neighbors have met with Phil Keithley, also of Water Utilities, and other county officials many times over the years. Lot 6 at the west end of Willow Lake Trail is unique in that the water and sewer mains must pass through my property to serve the other 4 residents on the street. All right. Before the project could be planned, I had to grant the county 2 easements on my property. I don't like giving property away, but I'm glad to see this project is finally ready to start. The last thing I want to say is that it has been a lot of years coming, and I hope you approve this project today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, with that, we have a motion by Commissioner Heatherington, seconded by Commissioner Hurd. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to skip public hearing number 2 for the moment and move on to what everybody else is in the room for is public hearing number 3. Legislative public hearing to consider the adoption of a comprehensive plan amendment, CPA 22-06, Kousa Creek Ranch text. Comes Mr. Clyde.
Good morning, members of the board.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please proceed.
Members of the board, this is public hearing 3. My name is Clyde Doolin, Comprehensive Planning Administrator with the Martin County Growth Management Department. With me is Daphne Schaub, Senior Planner with the Growth Management Department. We're going to present to you the legislative public hearing for Comprehensive Plan Amendment 22-06, Kousa Creek Ranch text. This is just the text amendment, not the future land use. That'll be the next public hearing. And this is not the PUD, which is the following public hearing. The local planning agency considered this item on November 16. The Board of County Commissioners considered it on December 5. It's been sent off to the state agencies and surrounding jurisdictions for their comment. There is no significant comment from state agencies on this text amendment. And so we will hit the highlights that you are already somewhat familiar with. This is not a site-specific text amendment. It is applicable in western Martin County lands along the edge of the primary urban service district and a freestanding urban service districts. It requires a minimum 3,000 acres. It permits a max density of 1 unit per 20 acres and is a change to the existing text, which permits rural lifestyle to be located adjacent to the primary urban service district and has a minimum 1,000 acres and a different density of 1 unit per 5. It clarifies that employee housing cannot exceed the density of the PUD, which was an oversight in the originally adopted text. It requires enhanced nutrient reducing on-site sewage treatment systems instead of standard septic systems. And that is consistent with changes in state statute, which are discussed and analyzed in an attachment to this item. It permits residential docking facilities, among other uses, in the PUD. And I'm going to go to page 413, which is a map showing agricultural land and private ownership in large acreage. This is a major piece of the data and analysis that we considered in reviewing this text amendment. The hatching that you see is a hatching that's laid down around the freestanding industrial urban service districts and the primary urban service district. It represents a 6,000-foot distance from the primary urban service district, and it gives you an idea of where the rural lifestyle future land use designation must be located in this proposed change to the text. It must be located adjacent to or contiguous to this hatching that you see, and it cannot be located elsewhere in western Martin County. My cursor is following the hatching, so the rural lifestyle future land use that is described in this text amendment cannot be located in western Martin County where my cursor is now. It cannot be located adjacent to the municipality of Indiantown. It must be located adjacent to this 6,000-foot buffer that's shown around the primary urban service district. Examples examples of where the rural lifestyle has been located, assigned, is the Discovery property, Atlantic Fields here at Bridge Road, and the Three Lakes property, and as we'll discuss in the next public hearing, the proposed location here, where my cursor is at Canner Highway and Bridge Road. The map also shows land in pink, lands that are in public ownership. It's unlikely that anyone would attempt to locate a rural lifestyle adjacent to lands in public ownership. It's also unlikely that it would be proposed in lands here in this brown area, which is Ag Ranchette, where they already have a density of 1 unit per 5 acres. So it would actually be requiring them to decrease their density if they proposed a rural lifestyle in this location. They'd have to decrease down to 1 unit per 20 acres instead of the 1 unit per 5 acres they're already permitted in this area. So that's the high spots of this proposed text amendment. I will try and go to the conclusion in the staff report just to make sure I haven't missed anything. It provides predictability where in some respects legislation currently that has been recently adopted in state statute takes away predictability in our western lands. It does not permit, the proposed text change under consideration here today does not permit a density to exceed 1 unit per 20 acres. I mentioned that dormitory housing is clarified and the nutrient, and the proposed changes meet or exceed the requirements of Chapter 2023-169 laws of Florida that require advanced wastewater treatment. And with that, I will close out the staff presentation on the proposed text amendment and be happy to take any questions.
Any questions for staff?
Not at this time.
Okay. Mr. Waters?
Somebody's phone is here.
Oh. Somebody's phone was at the podium, so whoever.
That's his. You leave your phone?
Oh, there you go.
I apologize all. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Tyson Waters on behalf of the applicant. Very happy and excited about this opportunity to present not just this first text amendment, but also the land use and especially the PUD to come later this afternoon. Again, as you're familiar, this is the subject property. It's about 3,900 acres located at the intersection of Bridge Road and Canner Highway. As staff mentioned, we've been here twice before, once with the local planning agency on November 16th, who recommended approval of both the land use and this text amendment, and then in front of you for transmittal hearing on December 5th. And before I get started on some of the overview of the text amendment, I would ask Tom McNicholas to come up here to give a brief history about the property.
Thank you, Tyson. Good morning, Chairman Jenkins. Good morning, Commissioners. Tom McNicholas from Stuart, Florida, representing the Barney family, the previous owner, and Ken and Suzanne Bax, who are behind us, who now have owned the property for more than 2 years. We're very pleased to be here today and humbled at the project that's being brought forward. On behalf of the Barney family, who couldn't be here today, they had family in town, their apologies. The Barney family has owned Kousa Creek for more than 20 years. And if you know of the history, some of you were sitting on the dais back in 2010 in a conservation project. The Barney family was approved by Martin County and the state of Florida to provide for 600 residential units with a 1,200 acre set aside. At that time, why that didn't come to fruition is honestly, South Florida wasn't ready to accept the property at that point. There was budget issues at that time. So Mr. Barney, in viewing in the future, decided to hang on to the property. We actually went back to Tallahassee and unraveled a comp plan amendment that would have allowed 600 homes, 600 septic tanks on that property. It's just not what he wanted to do. That was in 2010. Here we are today. There have been a number of suitors who have come to the Barney family over the last 4 years. Some of them have been the golf course developers in front of you previously who've had great projects, but they didn't align with what the Barney family wanted to do from a conservation mechanism in view. They sent us back out, and we were blessed to find Ken and Suzanne Bax, who were the developers and managing owners of Friars Head, New York. In Friars Head, it's one of the top golf courses in the world and one of the top in the country as well. The thing that makes Friars Head so good is the preservation that they've had there. I apologize, Tyson, I'm trying to go to the next slide. I'll do it. There we go, sorry. So Friars Head is located in New York on the Sound. It was approved with 80 units, 80 homes on that site 22 years ago. They've built 0 homes. We're not saying that's what's going to happen here, but that gives you an idea of preservation from the Bax family. On Kousa Creek, you've heard about the expansive open space of more than 91%. You've heard of the agricultural preservation of more than 1,200 acres, and you've also heard of the upland and wetland protections of more than 1,200 acres. Those numbers speak for itself, and we appreciate your consideration today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And I'll be brief, just again to go over what's in front of you today with this text amendment and what it does. As staff mentioned, it's not site-specific and it's not an exception. It's the establishment and the establishment of a new tier by modifying an existing land use. And what this modification, what this second tier does, it creates a requirement that you have to be at least 3,000 acres, so that's triple the size of Tier 1 in the rural lifestyle, and you have to be within 6,000 feet of the primary or freestanding urban service district. And those are relevant because those are the two that allow water and sewer to get there. And this is very important, no density increase. So we're at 1 unit per 20 acres today, and we remain at a gross density, maximum density of 1 unit per 20 acres tomorrow. What it does allow us to do is have a residential development over a smaller footprint. So what you'll see as we move forward, the vast amount that we're avoiding and allowed to have in open space. And it allows water and sewer service. And I think this is especially important for environmentally sensitive lands that you're allowed to have water and sewer as opposed to the septic tanks. But what does it require? At least 70% open space compared to agricultural that has 50%. Development under a plan unit development agreement as opposed to strict zoning. And then all upland areas and wetlands or upland preserve areas and wetlands are outside of individual tracts of land. And I think this is most helpful, and you're going to see this slide again and again throughout the day because I really think it breaks down a comparison between the agricultural land use and the land use we're asking to be under. Again, maximum density under both is 1 unit per 20 acres. The big difference here is potentially on this property you could have up to 195 units spread out over 3,900 acres. You'll see later on what this land use allows us to do is have a much more compact residential footprint. In our case, and again, as you'll see this moving forward, we're able to get that under 200 acres. Guest houses are the same, golf courses, they're allowed in agricultural land. just like they're allowed under the proposed land use. The big difference with that are the golf cottages. Under the agricultural land use, there's no maximum in number or size. Under the proposed land use, we're both limited in number and size for those golf cottages. And these last 3 and 4, I think, are the most important for your consideration. The wetlands. In all of Martin County, wetlands are required and upland preserves are required to be outside of a lot, except for the agricultural and ag ranchette land use. So if we were to develop this piece of property under the agricultural land use, those 20-acre lots could include the wetlands. Under the proposed land use, that's not allowed. They have to be separate parcels outside of individual tracts of land. Open space, again, 50% under agricultural, 70% under the proposed land use. And again, you see when we come forward later, we're actually at 91%. Water and wastewater, we've said this before, up to 195 well and septic systems adjacent to the St. Lucie Canal, an environmentally sensitive area. Under the proposed land use, water and sewers is available at the developer's cost to construct, serve, and maintain. And then again, the type of development. Under the agricultural land use, as long as I check all these boxes, it's a straight zoning by right development. Under the proposed land use, it's mandated to be a plan unit development, which means enhanced requirements and demonstration of public benefits. And with that, we're happy to answer any questions you may have. We would ask that you support your prior or continue your prior action and support staff's recommendation and approve this. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for the applicant? Seeing none. We have some public comment. Terry Gibson, followed by Greg Braun. Oh, I ended up putting you on the top, and you were actually supposed to be in the back. Like that.
Thank you for your time. I'm in a bit of a catch-22 here in that I can't see you with my reading glasses on, and I can't read what's in front of me without them, so I'm going to do my best. Listen, I understand the concerns about the precedent here, and it concerns me too, but I've thought about this project really hard, and I've talked to dozens of people in this community. I've lived here a long time, and by and large, most people are like, what's the problem? This is a good thing. Matter of fact, one person said to me, you know, if we had a few more of these out west of town, we wouldn't be worried about sprawl anymore because there wouldn't be any room for it, right? So, I mean, what's not to like about the project? You got clustered high-end homes instead of sprawl. You got a world-class golf course, a working cattle ranch with an organic garden and a research facility. That's amazing. A de facto wildlife corridor, conserved and restored wetlands that serve as natural filters against and also guard against floods. Partnerships with local high school kids. I was a high school teacher in Belgrade for a long time, and I'll tell you what, most of those kids weren't interested in Shakespeare. They needed to learn how to do things like farm and handle machinery and all that. We place too much emphasis on kids going to college and not enough about things that we need. We don't have any kids coming in the agricultural community. We're not going to be able to eat if we don't get these kids trained up to do stuff like that. The new marina. Probably most importantly, modern stormwater wastewater and water infrastructure. We cannot have any more septic tanks in this town. We need to get every last one of them, including mine, out of the ground now. They are toxic. Anyway, last thing I want to say is that I'm really proud of the people that have driven this project through the approval process. It's been a rigorous process, and it's time to approve it. Okay, and thank you very much.
Mr. Braun is followed by Gigi Duke. Dubay. I knew that.
Good morning. Greg Braun, professional ecologist, certified environmental professional, here in my capacity as executive director for the Guardians of Martin County. In November and December of last year, the Guardians provided to the county a position paper that had been adopted by our board of directors, identifying our concerns about projects that were outside the urban services boundary and were going to involve residences and golf courses. We are opposed to the extension of rural lifestyle by the 6,000 feet. We note that the county has received agency comments with concerns raised by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, sharing some of our concerns on the environmental side of things, and significant concerns that were raised by the South Florida Water Management District regarding water issues, not just the ERP that Mr. Tucker talked about before, but the impacts on the comprehensive Everglades restoration plan. We understand that the applicant has proposed to include more than 90% of the property in open space, and we agree that this new threshold does set the bar for Martin County. But we remain steadfast in our position that the only way to ensure that this area remains as viable habitat is by requiring a permanent conservation easement for all open space portions of the property that are not otherwise encumbered by a preserve area management plan. The easement should have a third-party nonprofit conservation organization as one of the easement holders. Regarding water quality, Martin County is going to great lengths, spending a lot of time, effort, and money on trying to meet the BMAPs. The Guardians believe that it's counterproductive for a project like this with several golf courses to be constructed in an area that is discharging into the same water bodies that you guys are spending so much time, effort, and money trying to clean up. Phosphorus and nitrogen are indeed critical, but it takes more chemicals than that to keep golf courses looking good. So the Guardians request that the county require that continuous in-stream monitoring be done at the applicant's expense. A Kilroy that is fitted with sensors for nutrients, herbicides, pesticides, and heavy metals should be deployed prior to construction and remain in place until 5 years after the phased construction is completed. The requirement for monitoring, though, must include a provision that if monitoring shows non-compliance with water quality standards or an impact to the receiving bodies, that the applicant, or the owner, is the entity that is responsible for the remediation to correct that problem. So until those things are resolved, I'm afraid the Guardians cannot support this amendment. We hope that you won't either. Thank you.
Ms. Dubay will be followed by Brian Schwan. Didn't you already just speak or no? Oh, different one, okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity of speaking to you today. I'm a member of the public, so forgive me for being a little confused. I heard more than once that this is not site-specific, yet all of the backup information that we're evaluating is site-specific to the Kousa Ranch project, with the exception of one county map that shows other areas that also could apply. The Loxalucy, which I am a member of and speaking for, continues to be concerned about the intensity of rural lifestyle. Unlike agricultural ranchettes, we're allowed to have golf courses, dormitories, golf cottages, convenience stores, and other facilities that we would not find in a ranchette environment. What is happening is those facilities are going to be taking services from the urban service district, shopping centers, gas stores, hospitals, doctors, and yet we don't have any transparency as to what the county has done for looking at how those services are going to be impacted. That's per the comprehensive plannings that the public has asked for multiple times. It's just, everybody's concerned about it. You've heard from probably 100 people today that are concerned about it. What do they see? What do they feel that you don't? I think that you need to address this. We're concerned about conservation, and what is the plan for connectivity? How are we going to provide that on a county-wide basis? We can't find anything that addresses that. You are required to consider all of the agency comments when you sign your resolution. And yet the Water Management District comments are buried in the public opinion comments. They're not even submitted to you as part of agency comments. Most of the public feel that water management had some very valid concerns. Where are the staff reports that you have addressed them as the resolution says you are required to do before submitting it to the state? Thank you.
Brian Schwan, I hope, followed by Larry Mueller.
Thank you, everyone. Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. My name is Brian Schwan. As a lifelong resident of Martin County, I feel privileged to live here, work here, and raise my children in Martin County. Today, I'm here to show my support for the ranch. I think it's a great project that brings even more value to Martin County. This proposal represents a prime example of sensible development that prioritizes preservation. They have committed to preserving almost all of the site as open space, which demonstrates to me the thoughtful approach to land use. I think it is crucial for Martin County to pursue smart and practical development initiatives that consider the long-term impact on the community. The ranch proposal not only makes sense by generating high tax revenue with very low impact, but it should also be considered as a model for future rural planning and conservation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Larry Mueller, followed by Michael Circus.
Morning. I think it's still the morning here. My name is Larry Mueller, and my wife and I have lived in Martin County for 35 years. We raised our 3 children who are now living and working in Martin County and having children of their own. This commission and prior commissions have always worked hard to preserve the lifestyle that defines Martin County as an oasis amongst unbridled growth to our south and north. Determining the appropriate development use in the western ag areas have always been a major concern since I moved here. I'm here to support the ranch project. As some of you know, I have experience in real estate development. After reviewing the ranch site plan and getting a better understanding of what they are proposing, I am thinking that they not only meet the Martin County standards, but they exceed them. This project will maintain the rural character of the land. This project emphasizes the importance of maintaining the wildlife corridor by leaving 91% open space on their 4,000 acres of land. This applicant is committed to cleaning and restoring wetlands, improving ecosystems, and becoming a good steward of the land. This project will have a minimal impact on Martin County's infrastructure and services with its low housing density. Lastly, I am very excited that this project will generate significant tax revenue for Martin County. With today's inflation and ever-increasing cost of government, these tax revenues should greatly benefit all of us as Martin County residents. I urge all of you to support and approve the ranch application and take advantage of this tremendous opportunity to have a project like this take place in our community. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Circus is followed by Harry MacArthur.
Good morning, Michael Circus. I'm a resident in Palm City. I come here today to tell you a quick story. I'm a blessed man. My family and I are blessed and fortunate to live on a small ag ranchette in Martin County that's been in our family for more than half a century. I have 22 neighbors on our half-mile stretch of road, and collectively we all come together at about 200 acres. We make up over a quarter of the small ag ranchettes that are still left in Martin County inside the urban services boundary. And I bring that up, and I bring it up in this perspective to let you know that we didn't put our ranchettes inside the urban services boundary. We pre-exist the comp plan. We were there, and the comp plan came behind us, and they built suburbia around us. We went from 20-acre ranchettes to 30,000 residents in Palm City in less than 25 years. We had 150% population growth from 1970 to 1980, and almost identical from 1980 to 1990. Now, it's unreasonable for me to expect anybody to knock their house down because of the effects it has on my property. I deal with increased predation, animal predation. I deal with light pollution. I deal with population intrusion. I even get complaints from suburbia about basic ag activities on my property that's happened for 50 years, 20 years before I was even born. Again, I can't ask anybody to knock their house down. That's unrealistic. But it's immoral for me to watch us make these same mistakes over again in the western part of our county. That's why we have a comprehensive growth management plan. That's why we have an incremental process, not jumping 6,000 feet outside of it. So I'm not asking you guys to do anything crazy today. I'm asking you to follow your comp plan. I'm asking you to follow the rural lifestyle amendment as you promised it to us 18 months ago. Because at the end of the day, we have the history to show that this is not the road we need to be traveling down. This is a genie you're not going to put back in the box. Thank you.
Mr. MacArthur will be followed by Larry Mueller.
Hello, everyone. Harry MacArthur. I just want to thank all of you for doing such a great job week in and week out and keeping our county so great and everything else. All you have to look is at both sides of us, the job all of you do and staff does to make us a great county. And these are the projects that we're looking at that it's the, 40 years of battling big development, whether it's Palm City, when Martin Downs came in and then they were trying to take it to Hope Sound with 8,000 homes and we battled them, and we've Hope Sound Plantation, all these things that we've battled that were bad developments and everything else. And you know what, until they put a gate up there on the Florida-Georgia line, we're going to have people coming and they're going to keep going, and if they can, we can have the right development in Martin County. We're pretty darn lucky, and it's because of all of you. So thank you all for doing your job. I think this is the lowest density we can get on this. I think it's pretty special. I'm only here because I've heard the Guardians and those were against it. I looked and I said, of all the ones I've hollered about, this is the best one I've seen. So you know what? You got to pick your battles. I'll take this one over what I've seen. Thank you so much. Thank you for the job you do. Appreciate you fighting for everywhere in the state and federal government. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, with that, yeah, back to us. Any comments? Commissioner Hurd.
Sure. I'm not going to support this amendment. In the first place, it establishes a precedent from which we will never recover. If you expand this, it shows me that rural lifestyle has no limits. At first, we were promised that you have to be next to the urban service boundary. Now it's 6,000 feet away from it, over a mile away from it. What's the next one going to be? 10,000 feet away from it? 5 miles away from it? There's no limit to the expansion of this if this is approved today. I'm looking at the changes to Chapter 4, where there's development proposed at a density of more than 1 unit per 20 acres, has to have a special preservation outside the specific parcel, but there's no requirement that there be the parent parcel and the conservation parcel be owned by the same owner. Golf cottages don't count toward the final density. You can have up to 54 golf cottages. The provisions in Chapter 4 for extending water and sewer outside the primary urban service boundary are in direct conflict to the provisions, the laws, the requirements inside Chapter 4, which says that properties inside the primary urban service boundary will be prioritized for water and sewer extensions. That's a requirement. The people who in the agenda item before us, before this one, came in and told us, and they're solidly within the primary urban service boundary. They have been coming to Martin County since 2004 begging for water. And they're finally going to get it this year. And yet this project waltzes in and water and sewer are magically available to service 175 houses, 175 guest houses, 54 golf cottages, 234 employee dormitory beds, 36 holes of golf, a community store, a multi-slip docking facility, clubhouses, spas, on and on and on. South Florida Water Management District says that this project is in direct conflict with the Indian River Lagoon South plan. It says that it is entirely within the Indian River Lagoon South footprint. Those natural lands are extremely important to Martin County. We have spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to clean up our water. This is the critical part of our geography that makes sure that our water does have a chance of recovery. The applicant must detail the methodologies, assumptions, data sources, and analyses that will be used to assess whether its development program will have adverse impacts to the SERP project. The applicant has not done that. It's unclear where the development is deriving water for both consumption and irrigation. The applicant has not provided that. An analysis of stormwater management needs and potential flooding issues have not been included in the proposed amendment. Changes to the capital improvement plan have not been made. This is in violation to so many of our requirements. The Utilities Department says the cumulative impact on the existing superficial aquifer and wetlands is unknown. It's a betrayal of the Martin County difference, and I will be opposing it. And also, if this amendment passes, I will be moving for reconsideration of my approval for the half-cent sales tax.
Commissioner Heatherington.
Okay. I see it a little different, actually. So I was listening to the commentary this morning of our residents and talking to some of them, and a couple times it came up during public comment that this is going to be low-density sprawl. So, and by the way, I'm very familiar with this area. I've been back and from to Indiantown at least 4 times this week, in the past week, and driven past this project and just about all of the western lands. So I looked up the definition of sprawl just now, and it's entitled Uncoordinated Growth, the Expansion of Community Without Concern for Its Consequences. In short, unplanned, incremental urban growth, which is often regarded unsustainable. And when I looked at everything that was presented, it's certainly coordinated, it's certainly sustainable, and it has certainly been done with a lot of concern. Now, it's no secret that I am not a big fan of how rural lifestyle, the policy came about. I'm not a fan of the policy in itself, because if it were up to me, everyone that had a great project would come in with their independent project. But I agree with what the gentleman, Harry, said. We sometimes have to pick our battles, because 198 units today, well, as the applicant stood up and said, there were 600 units approved on this before. There's 198 today, 175.
The PUD proposes 175. The maximum permitted by the existing and proposed land use is 195.
So and you have your exhibit up, as our ag policy or our ag lands require, you can build one house per 20 acre in just about every part of that green map today.
Correct.
And you can build a golf course in just about every portion of that green map. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I've just taken up golf, and I'm actually, I think I'm not too bad at it. So, I'm working on it. But if it were up to me, I wouldn't have determined that you could put a golf course, in my beloved Martin County anywhere on that green map. However, that's been the policy since when, 1970s, 80s?
Yes, it dates back to at least 1982.
So by right, the speakers that talked this morning, that they don't want any more golf courses, by right, many areas of Martin County can be golf courses. I think the opposite of the definition of sprawl is being able to cluster some of these together and have that open space. And so there was somebody worried about wiping out trees and habitat. The best thing for habitat and some of this conservation is to be able to move the units closer together. And then we're talking, this is 3,400 acres, or maybe this applies to more than that, this text amendment. But being able to cluster and being able to preserve that open space, to me, is the absolute opposite to sprawl. Having no septic tanks on some of these lands, absolutely more sustainable. And then I'll say, as well, as an Indiantown native, I attended South Fork High School, and I attended University of Florida too. So I feel like this is like a double whammy for me. Not only will South Fork High School be getting if this project moves forward, the golf course that used to be kind of thriving when I was there, the 3-hole, and that contribution to South Fork, if this project moves forward, I think is phenomenal. And the same with IFAS. And if you drive our western lands, I always said when some of these golf courses were coming in, what I would not like to see are the golf courses. When I drive Canner Highway, like I have for many, many years, which I think we used to ride the bus from Indiantown, from Little Ranch Estates, every single day to down Canner Highway to South Fork High School. What I want to see is that rural atmosphere that we always have seen. So I think it's a great project. Like I'm no fan of rural lifestyle the way it came about, but if we don't do something now, then we're going to have thousands of units on some of these parcels later. So I like this particular proposed policy, and I'm going to motion to approve staff's recommendation.
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What I really like about the map that's up, I think it tells a remarkable story of where we were 25, 26 years ago. By and large, what you see in pink 26 years ago did not exist. Mike Dieter Lizzie, who's a school board member, and I sat on the Sustainable Martin 2020 plan. And Mike and I had this epiphany one day that wouldn't it be really cool or amazing if we could create a green belt from northern Martin County to southern Martin County? And again, that's before any of that pink that you see on that middle portion of the map existed. So we produced what is the current, this was 26 years ago, what was the current status, what was the not wanted status, and what was the desirable future. And what you see laid out in pink is what the desirable future was. All that's really left to create this barrier of what could have happened going west in Martin County is picking up the rest of Palomar, and that's what you see in yellow with those thousands of little hatched quarter-acre lots in Palomar, which is a whole nother conversation, but it is part of the story. When these projects came along, it offered us the opportunity, with or without a sales tax, to acquire natural lands, to put a whole bunch more land into open space and preservation. What's going to occur on this piece of property and the others that have been already put into production, Martin County could not have afforded to do. We don't have the resources, we don't have the revenue to do what is being asked of this applicant to do with their product. It's amazing when you start to think about it, and when you tie it together with one of my priorities for this year in the absence of having any of our flyways or natural spaces through Martin County. It's what really frustrated me in the fact that we were kind of left out of the matrix of what those programs looked like. And if you start to piece together what these large tracts are doing for us, it already exists. The wildlife corridors that are potentially there are fantastic. There was another big acquisition on Bridge Road last year that could have been 800 homes, that is not going to be 800 homes. And that is right on the edge of Hobe Sound. It's remarkable, I think, with what has occurred and what is going to occur to prevent what everybody seems to believe can occur that won't. I'm happy to second Commissioner Hetherington's motion. I think it's remarkable what these folks have put together. It's amazing, and we'll talk about this later in the PUD, but the benefits and the things that are going to occur as a result. If for nothing else, the water quality that we gain out of this project, again, that we would never have been able to afford to build as Martin County. And I think the most intriguing part of it is the access and the kids that we have at South Fork. I was going to mention this earlier when the teacher came up and spoke about golf. They had a graduate from South Fork some years ago that I believe runs one of the larger golf courses down in Palm Beach County off of Military Trail. His salary's in excess of $350,000, $400,000 a year coming out of South Fork running a golf course program. That's a Martin County kid who grew up here, graduated from South Fork, and is making well in excess of what affordable housing is. If half the kids that have access to this kind of programming at South Fork take advantage of that, they'll be able to go anywhere they want in the world or in the country and name their price for what they want to do as employment. I think if you just took that one single opportunity for Martin County residents, it's huge. And so, again, I'm happy to support the project, and I look forward to it becoming reality.
Commissioner Campy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll keep it brief. The people that support this project are going to support it, and the people that don't, there's not much that any of the five of us, for or against, are going to change their minds. I try to focus my attention and my decision-making on the people in the middle that don't have an opinion, yes, I absolutely want this, or no, I absolutely don't want this. And I take a couple of things into consideration when we do that. One is what could happen on the property right now if we had no say. I think some people this morning, when they say, I think they were assuming that we were making a decision between leaving it exactly the way it is with nothing ever to happen on it or developing it. They were not, in my opinion, from some of the folks that I've heard from and emails that I've read, understanding that nearly 200 homes could be built on the property. Now, some people say, well, that wouldn't happen. Well, we don't know if it would or it wouldn't. It very well could. So that's a possibility. And then in terms of the septic system versus sewer, we are asking our residents on the coast, in the more established neighborhoods, New Monrovia, Old Palm City, to switch their systems. Some of their systems are in dire need of conversion. Some are fine. Some are new. But in a lot of neighborhoods, we as a board have tasked our utility staff, as the state has been looking to do, converting people from septic systems to a sewer system. Especially most of our residents are lucky enough to either live on the water or near the water. We're asking those people to pay $10,000, $12,000, $14,000. People that live in very small postage size lots and along Cornell. And whether you needed to or not, we're asking you to do that. However, we're supposed to just assume that it would be okay on these multi-million-dollar pieces of property out west of town. They can have septic systems. To me, that sounds hypocritical, that we would force the people that are struggling to pay into a system to replace them while we were still potentially approving by right folks out west to have septic systems. That doesn't work well for me. With respect to my colleague who said, how are we allowing the folks out west who are brand new to the situation to have water and septic when residents in town were begging for 20 years to have it? Well, there's a big, big difference. The folks out west are 100% responsible for paying for all of it. All of it. If the folks in town were going to stroke a check in 2004 to pay for the entire system, I'm pretty sure they could have had it. But we're working on a sort of a balancing act in town. Some of the folks this morning said, until you completely infill inside the urban service boundary, you can't really think about working out west. Well, we also fill this room up on occasion with in-town folks that are furious when we infill projects right on top of them. You know, in regards to the Rural Lifestyle Amendment, I made no secret about the fact that I was opposed to it. I was opposed to it for certain circumstances similar to today. I did not like to have a blanket, broad brush approach to what could and could not happen anywhere in the western portion of the county. I, right or wrong, prefer to have some parameters on what I'm being requested to vote on, up or down. I like to know the project, and I like to know the place. And I will as quickly vote in opposition to a project as I would necessarily to support a good project. Case in point, applicant comes forward with his perfectly legal right to build 90 apartments right on Martin Highway in the heart of Palm City. Three-story buildings, unlike anything that exists there currently. By right. If we had not gotten creative through the assistance of our staff and some brainstorming on my part and some of our residents, they would be under construction right now. 90 apartments in the heart of Palm City, not affordable housing, three-story buildings right on the sidewalk in Martin Highway. And people would be losing their minds. So we were able to stop that from happening. That project is not a yes in my mind. This project is, you know, I know that people don't want to really pay attention to the statistics, because if you're not for the project, you're not for the project, and I get that. But to have it be 91% open space, and look, you can say, well, golf courses are not open space. But most people are familiar with at least the concept of golf. A golf course is a tee box, a fairway, and a green. The rest of the course is trees and scrub and bushes and water, whether it's man-made water or whatever. Very little of the actual physical portion of golf is man-made. Most of it is left by design to be sort of natural and rural to make it a better experience. 175 homes when we have projects on the horizon that could be 4,000 homes. We're talking about 175 homes on nearly 4,000 acres. And the things that any other I would say this project really stands out in some of the public benefits that they have done, one after the other after the other. You've heard them. I mean, the three-hole course at South Fork is in bad shape, and it was always sort of their jewel because very few high schools offer golf and turf maintenance programs, and that the students in the last several years have not really benefited because the course is in tough shape. It's expensive to maintain those places. This applicant's willing to do that. Throw on top the Banner Lake improvements. Throw on top that they gave 20 acres. 20 acres is nothing to you to say, well, who cares? To the IFAS who are on literally in the front parking lot at the fair in Stewart now. What will they be able to do? So when I have to make a decision on is this a good project or not, some people will never agree with me. They'll be mad if I vote for it. They'll be mad if I vote against it. But in my mind, you take my environmental review of the project, 175 homes clustered closer together instead of spread out all over the property. The water, we had a group, and it was mentioned this morning, come in here and explain, not just specifically for this project, for all of the golf course projects that people are hearing, oh, golf courses are horrible. It's not the same thing as it used to be. They're not pumping a tremendous amount of pesticides and fertilizers. First off, that's very expensive. Secondly, it's horribly damaging to the environment, and they don't want to do that. So we could get the date that we had that presentation that was mentioned this morning, because it was pretty telling on how it really works. And I know that most people are concerned and think, well, you know, it's not going to work that way. But in my mind, to conclude, this project hits with a lot of things that I believe our Martin County residents will benefit from. and will see it, if you're not on one extreme or the other, they will see it as an opportunity for us to have a benefit in our project, in our community, this project, and I appreciate my time. I yield the remainder of my time back.
That was the brief version.
That was more of a Jenkins than a Smith.
I beg to differ. So I voted against this project in the beginning until I was corrected on some procedural thing of a thing. So anyway, being a lame duck, it gives me the opportunity to call bull when I see bull, okay? Now, I've spent the last 7.5 years of being a commissioner of this polite, very soft-spoken guy, but this is becoming ridiculous. So we have a project that I really wanted to support the last time, but nobody stopped me from sticking my foot down my throat, and I did not. This is the most environmentally beneficial project that's ever come to Martin County. But yet, we have these not-for-profits up here speaking against it. Speaking against something, and what they're speaking against are by right. We don't want any more golf courses. We don't have a choice. You're allowed to put golf courses. You put as many golf courses as you want. Right? We're opposed to homes. They're actually proposing less than what they have by right. And these are the two legs you're standing on to convince us to object to literally one of the best projects that's ever come to Martin County. Let's not forget that the Guardians, at least the executive board, and some representatives from 1,000 Friends were for rural lifestyle the day before they were against it. Okay? Let's not forget that. Why is that, I wonder? Why is that? Well, I tell you what, you can't pay Greg Braun's salary, nor Paul Owen's salary. If you're supporting something, you get people to write big checks when you demonize something. Demonizing this project, you should be ashamed. All right, and with that, I will say that I am going to support this project 100% this time around. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Did I do something wrong?
You did not, but Elise Elder, Deputy County Attorney, before the board votes, I know that you guys know this, but I just want to clarify for the record that we are not voting for a project during this public hearing. We are amending a future land use designation that is going to be applicable to any project that meets the criteria. So in this public hearing, it's a future land use text amendment, not a specific project. So I want to clarify that before you vote, so the record is correct.
Understood.
Okay, with that, we have a motion, which I've forgotten was Commissioner Heatherington, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes 4-1 with Commissioner Hurd dissenting. All right. With that, it's 12:20. Do we power through or do we break for lunch?
Well, there's 2 to go. You're not going to get through both of them, so you might as well wait.
If we're going to break for lunch, I would just like to, before we break for lunch, make a motion to reconsider my vote for the sales tax referendum.
Was that at the last meeting?
I think it was.
I don't know how
I
this.
voted in the majority.
You did. It was unanimous. You don't have to make your determination right this minute. You want to think on it, or are you ready to just?
I would expect that my fellow commissioners would observe the rule, which is if you vote in the majority
I'm
on the
not
next
saying
meeting,
I'm not going
you
to. I'm
can
just
vote to
asking
reconsider
you.
your motion.
You know, look, I respect your decision to make your own opinions, obviously. I'm just saying, would you like to hear from the rest of the day, or are you jumping out on the ramifications of you exiting the sales tax might have a much bigger adverse effect on what your ultimate goal would be to prove a point that you didn't like where this was going, are you narrowing, are you making a decision, and I'm speaking to you as a friend, are you making a decision specifically because you're annoyed by this that might have much broader benefit if you stayed with it?
No, I think that this approval of this amendment shows me that we are not going to respect Indian River Lagoon South in natural lands.
Okay, so,
This parcel is entirely within that footprint.
well, if there was information that will be presented in the next two agenda items, would you prefer to wait to make that determination?
I'm prepared to vote now.
I second your motion as your right to make that determination, but now you will leave all of the people that did so much hard work to bring Martin County Forever's referendum forward to let the public decide if they want to continue this natural process, and you're going to exit now.
I didn't make the vote to extend the rural lifestyle anywhere in Martin County.
Understood. But now you will be leaving that group that's working hard on the things that you really care about.
I think there's a trust issue.
Very well. I second your motion.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Opposed. Motion.
Well, don't get me wrong. My vote was not, what?
The effect of the motion for reconsideration
Oh, it's just a-
stops the approval. Okay?
is that?
Because that's what the
Well,
rules.
I need to have a little more information.
Okay,
This
well-
is happening in real time.
Okay. A motion to reconsider, a vote of the board may be made at the same meeting or the next regular meeting held after, provided the next meeting is not more than 30 days after the meeting. A motion to reconsider may only be made by a commissioner who voted on the prevailing side of the original vote or was absent. The board may debate the motion to reconsider, but may not debate the vote to be reconsidered unless it comes back before the board for reconsideration. A majority vote to reconsider will have the effect of suspending all action that the original vote would have required. In this case, it's an ordinance. You're suspending the ordinance. You will not, I believe, I can, during the break, look at the statutory, but it's a referendum, so we won't be able to make the referendums deadlines. But remember, you have to send we sent the ordinance to the state to do an analysis on the ordinance, and that won't be able to be made. They've already started that procedure. I'm just letting you know, they've gone out for RFP to hire a CPA to do the analysis. We won't be able to meet the requirements. It has to be on the agenda for the general election. I'm happy to come back after the break and explain all the deadlines you're going to make, but it won't, it ends the approval.
Well, listen, I think you're talking to all five of us, but specifically one of us. I would speak again with all due respect to my colleague. Are you willing to torpedo the entire process, all that hard work, by yourself? Well, I will withdraw my second I want to give my colleague all consideration of a reconsideration. This is unprecedented area we're in. A normal reconsideration of a vote has very small and limited consequences. This has massive consequences. So I would respect her right to have a reconsideration, but not under these set of circumstances. But maybe she doesn't want to anymore. Maybe you didn't know all of that.
No, I didn't. So I would like to have some time to reflect upon what my vote for reconsideration does.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that consideration. So that he didn't call the vote. Did we vote on that? No, I withdraw my second. I withdraw my second as the motion is being held by the motion maker. Are you withdrawing your motion?
Sure, I'll withdraw it until I further confer with legal.
Thank you very much. Little, pre-lunch excitement that no one was expecting.
Just as we were all reflecting on the conversation, I remember years ago when we had a sales tax referendum and my colleague voted against it and then stated way after that was the worst decision that she ever made and she should have supported it. So maybe as we all reflect on what's going on here, we'll think about that.
Good. So we're still status right where we were after the vote. So why don't you tell us about lunch?
Okay, why don't we break for lunch? And what time